excellent group of guys. Hit most of our targets in a really competitive space, and certainly with the transfer portal coming up, we'll have a few additions there, I would expect. But we really did well in the state of Oklahoma. It's important to us that's where everything starts for us. And so we signed 6 players, scholarship-wise, from the state of Oklahoma, and then a specialist as well. And then had 6 players currently from the state of Texas, Arkansas 2, Utah 2, and Washington, D.C. with 1. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm really excited about the players that we signed.
Live from Sooner Daiquiri here in Norman, it is the 3rd annual OU Insider Signing Day Special. Parker Thune alongside Brandon Drumm. We're super excited to bring this show to you. Super pleased to be here at Sooner Daiquiri for the 2nd consecutive year. Had an awesome event here last year. We're gonna have another awesome one this year. 3 hours of nonstop live programming ahead. Interviews with 8 commits, 8 OU signees now, members of the 2025 recruiting class for the Sooners. Before we dive into all of it, and we will dive into all of it here shortly, I want to give a quick shout out to our title sponsor, the great folks at Jana King, the greatest team to ever clean, and a proud partner of OU Athletics. They deliver spotless results from stadiums to any size business across the country. You can check them out at janaking.com for unbeatable commercial cleaning services. Again, that's janaking.com. Also want to give a shout out to Mando for their partial sponsorship of this live stream. Both Brandon and I use Mando whole body deodorant. It's not one singular product. It's a variety of products designed to eliminate body odor. We love the bourbon leather body wash. It comes in a handy travel size bottle. There are so many products from the Mando line that are useful for men on the go who live a busy lifestyle like Brandon and myself in particular. You need something you can throw in that travel bag. Mando's got something for you. Now, you can use code INSIDER at shopmando.com, shopmando.com, to get over 40% off your starter pack. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers or to secure some last minute stocking stuffers. Again, all you got to do is use code INSIDER at shopmando.com to get access to a deal that'll entitle you to 40% off your Mando starter pack. Don't let the meat sweats get you this holiday season. Your family and friends will thank you. All right, Brandon.
Yeah.
We're about to jump in with some class introductions here. First and foremost, immediate thoughts, knee-jerk reactions as the Sooners hold on to Michael Fasusi today and sign 18 excellent scholarship football players.
Yeah, I think you need to. People are going to automatically look at the ranking as far as like where Oklahoma ended up. I believe it was like 15, 16, something to that extent. I don't think you need to do that now because one, it was a small class because there was 81 freshmen and sophomores returning. I think Brent Venables made that very clear to everybody during his presser. And another thing I thought was pretty cool was 8,000 snaps total between those freshmen and sophomores. So you're not going to have a lot of attrition, therefore you're not going to have a lot of spots. The spots that they wanted to bring in, they brought in. Now they're going to tilt to the transfer portal, and they left room for that. And I think that's where you're going to see Oklahoma. The rankings now aren't just high school. It's high school and transfer. So it's a long ways before you get to see the final product of where this class actually ends up being ranked down the line.
It's a light class for Oklahoma, so not where the last 3 classes have been rankings-wise nationally under Venables and this staff. This class ranks number 16 in the country. Again, 18 signees today on scholarship for the Sooners. So let's jump into class introductions. Let's meet every one of these guys in turn. And let's start by heading out to the state of Utah. 4-star offensive lineman Darius Afalava is the first signee that y'all get acquainted with here. A native of Lehi, Utah, attended Skyridge High School. Really unique recruitment here, Brandon, because he wasn't offered by Oklahoma until the spring game this past April. From offer to commitment, this recruitment was barely 60 days for Oklahoma. Really impressive job by Bill Bedenbaugh to lock this kid down as expediently as he did, especially when so many other schools got a head start on recruiting Afalava. And this kid's nasty. He's a road grader.
Yeah, it was a guy that really got Bill Bedenbaugh started getting his groove back a little bit in the 2025 class. He started rolling as far as recruiting went. And I think getting Afalava really kind of set the tone for the rest of the class. And you're looking at a road grader. You're looking at a guy that not only he is going to bury you whistle from the start to whistle. He doesn't stop. He's nasty. He's exactly the type of player that when he shows up, Bill Bedenbaugh is going to fall in love with, and he's going to end up playing. I would not be shocked if he played earlier. I just wouldn't.
By the way, folks, we're going in alphabetical order here, with one exception. You'll see why we made the exception at the end. On to the next signee for the Sooners. It's 4-star running back Torrey Blaylock out of Atascocita High School in Humble, Texas. That's down in the Houston area for those unfamiliar with the geography of the Lone Star State. Now, the Sooners only took one running back this cycle. That was always the plan. And if you're only going to take one running back, Brandon, why not take a guy like Blaylock, who had virtually every offer in the country and comes from great stock? His dad, Derek, played 8 seasons in the NFL as a running back himself.
Yeah, he kind of what DeMarco does, right? He goes for the guys that he plays with or played with in the NFL. They've got kids. DeMarco seems to always get Oklahoma at least in the mix, right? Blaylock is a speedster. That's what he does. He's going to be that guy that can catch the ball in the backfield. He's really hard to tackle in space. I think he's one of the more underrated guys that Oklahoma signed this year. I believe he's a top 250 kid. He's obviously a top 10 back in the country, so he's a really good get for Oklahoma.
He's dynamic and has had a very strong senior season down there for Atascocita. On to one of my absolute favorites in this class, Brandon, Emmanuel Choice, 3-star wide receiver out of Lancaster, Texas, 6'4", 195 pounds, and this was an Emmett Jones special. Emmett Jones in Oklahoma gave him his very first scholarship offer all the way back in May of 2023, and that relationship was unbreakable. He picked up over 30 high-end FBS offers thereafter, took a whole slate of official visits, but very intentionally saved OU for last, committed to the Sooners on his OV, and it has remained locked in ever since. This is a dude with legit NFL potential. Don't be fooled by that 3-star rating. He, in my mind, is the most underrated member of this class for the Sooners.
He's the most underrated. I don't think it's close. He should not be. Again, like I said earlier, this should be a top 250 kid.
Easily.
You look at him, he moves like a running back. He moves like a slot receiver at 6'4", nearly 200 pounds. A lot of people want to compare him to CeeDee Lamb, and he does have a lot of CeeDee Lamb comparisons with his body movement. I'm not saying like he's going to end up being CeeDee Lamb. The way that he plays is very CeeDee Lamb-esque, but I see a lot of blast from the past, Plaxico Burress in him. I mean, Plaxico Burress could run. I mean, he could flat fly. You watch it on the highlights, Emmanuel Choice, great agility, great speed, great body control. He's awesome.
Very excited to see what he looks like a few years down the road after he's had the chance to be developed by Emmett Jones. On to a kid that has been as locked in gets ever since he committed back in February. Ryan Fojay, the 4-star offensive tackle from Bridgeland, Texas, another Houston area kid. And this is another guy, Brandon, that I just can't fathom how he's not in the Rivals 250. Again. He's everything you look for, 6'5", 275 pounds, plays right tackle, and assuming that's the spot that he sticks at for Oklahoma, another guy that's got some legit day one potential, difficult as it is to see the field as a freshman in Bill Bedenbaugh's room.
Venables came out and said that he was the most underrated offensive lineman in the country. He loves him. Oklahoma, you talk to anybody inside the Switzer Center and they will tell you flat that they feel like he is, bar none, one of the highest potential guys in the 2025 class, no matter the position. We both agree that he should be at least, I think he's a top 100 player in the country. I think you believe he is as well. Unfortunately, Rivals has him at 30 or something to that extent at his position. Hopefully that gets fixed by National Signing Day, or the February signing period. But yeah, he's going to be a player that, along with obviously Michael Fasusi, they expect to come in and compete for playing time.
On to a kid that we will hear from later on in the show, and another one that I like a lot. I think this was an awesome eval and an awesome recruiting job by Jay Maliek and the Oklahoma defensive staff. Courtland Guillory, the 4-star cornerback out of Spring, Texas, 6'2", 175 pounds. Really technically sound defensive back. He's versatile. This, kind of like Afalava, was a recruitment where Oklahoma was late to the table, and they had to go arm wrestle Texas for this kid, and they won.
Yeah, he's physical. He's really good in press coverage. Oklahoma had to obviously hold off Texas a little bit there at the end, but hey, he's another player that when you look at him, he's one of those guys that fits the SEC mold, and that's exactly what Oklahoma's looking for as far as secondary guys goes. And Brent Venables, again, during his presser today, was very complimentary of all the secondary guys, and particularly Courtland Guillory.
Courtland Guillory took an unofficial visit to Texas in October, and everybody immediately started to fret that maybe the Longhorns would be able to sway him from his commitment to Oklahoma. No such luck. I believe he's the only guy across the entirety of the Venables era to visit another school while committed and wind up sticking with Oklahoma. So maybe he wasn't entirely sure there for a second, but after taking that visit to Texas, it seemed it really solidified where Courtland Guillory wanted to be, and that was the University of Oklahoma. Another member of the secondary with such a high ceiling, and another guy from great stock, Maliek Hawkins, son of former NFL and Oklahoma defensive back Mike Hawkins. And of course, most every Oklahoma fan is familiar with Maliek's older brother Michael, who started 3 games at quarterback for Oklahoma in 2024. Maliek also on board with the Sooners. 4-star kid. He can play cornerback. He can play safety. There's already been discussions about putting him at Cheetah once he gets to Norman. And somebody that just came out of the womb, a defensive back, Brandon. You can tell in the way he plays.
He did. We watched him during the Rivals camp, and in particular just watching his mannerisms with his dad, obviously Michael Hawkins Sr., and the way that he thinks, the way that he dissects what the route is going to be, depending on the alignment of the receiver and all that. That's not something that is easily taught. That is high football IQ. And that's why I think he has one of the highest ceilings in this class, is because his football IQ is so high. Then you got the genetics, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that Maliek Hawkins hasn't even touched the surface with as far as his performance goes in the future, and I think Oklahoma really got a steal there.
Tristan Haynes is the 3rd and final cornerback in this class for Jay Maliek and company. One of 3 signees from Carl Albert High in Midwest City, Oklahoma. This wasn't a given for Oklahoma. They had to fight a drawn-out battle with the likes of Notre Dame, Georgia, several other nationally revered programs, but they keep Tristan Haynes home in the end.
Yeah, so Tristan Haynes is another guy that I would sit here and tell you that speed is going to be his main deal. He's going to be a good punt returner. He can be in the kick return game. He's going to have to get a little bit more flexible in his hips, but I mean, look, he has a very high ceiling. He's got range. He's got length. He is a track guy, so you know he's going to have the speed. He's a guy that I think with his frame could actually end up growing into something a little bit bigger, maybe a cheetah type. I mean, you never know, but he's a guy that, obviously, Oklahoma kid. Most of those kids love playing for the state. They love playing for the university, and when you get that type of love for the university at OU, it's always ended up being a good deal, and I think that's where it's going to be here.
Talk about a cinder block of a human being. That is 3-star interior offensive line signee, Owen Hollenbeck from Melissa, Texas. 6'3", 340 pounds. Big, wide kid that projects to center, Brandon. Yep. And you think about some of the great centers that Oklahoma has had over the year. Owen Hollenbeck has the makings of the next great one.
Dusty Dvorak kind of face paint, right? And he plays a lot like him, except for he's an offensive lineman. Just nasty, road grader, just mean. But then he's the nicest human being whenever you talk to him after the game or before a game. He fits the culture perfectly. He's going to be a really solid player for Oklahoma. He's going to be playing center at Oklahoma.
Marcus James, another Midwest City, Oklahoma native, the second of the 3 Carl Albert High alumni. that we're going to meet throughout the show. The second of 3 that committed and signed with Oklahoma in this 2025 class. The lone linebacker, 6'3", 205 pounds, was a very early commit. He and Trinae Washington, whom we'll dive into in just a second, committed on the same day, November 2nd, 2023. Lots of versatility here. Not really sure what the plan is going to be for Marcus James when he gets to town, but he could be an off-ball linebacker. He could also be a really good edge rusher or hand-in-the-dirt defensive end.
I think he's going to be an edge rusher. I think he's going to be a jackbacker, stand-up type guy that Oklahoma is going to use in a variety of pass rushing. We saw him at the Rivals camp, and he was unblockable as a stand-up edge rusher, and that's all anybody wanted to talk about is just how quick his first step was. He's long, he's athletic, he's already about 225 pounds, he's big, he's rangy, and he's versatile, so he fits what Oklahoma wants to do defensively very, very well.
An in-state product from Weatherford, Oklahoma. Say hello to 4-star defensive end CJ Nixon, 6'5", 225 pounds. The Sooners graduate Ethan Downs, but they maintain their quota of Weatherford natives in CJ Nixon, who's going to play both football and basketball at Oklahoma. Really impressive athletic profile here.
Yeah, he's a great basketball player. He's kind of a tweener in basketball, but on the football field, he is a defensive end to the 9. I mean, like, that guy he's physical, he's athletic, got a great first step, and if they ever decide to move him over to tight end, we all know he can play that too. So, really good pickup for Oklahoma, 4-star guy out of the in-state.
How about the newest and most surprising member of this class? This kid didn't even have an Oklahoma offer when we all woke up yesterday morning. Now he's a member of the class without ever having visited Norman. Say hello to 3-star quarterback Jett Niu, Lehigh, Utah. Here's the story with this kid. He was committed to Appalachian State for several months, flipped to Oklahoma State in early September, and was set to sign with the Cowboys until Ben Arbuckle said, hey, if you're going to come to the Sooner State, why not come with me?
He built the relationship at Washington State. Obviously, took a few visits to Washington State with Arbuckle there as offensive coordinator. I guess he didn't find the fit there at the school, but he was coming to Oklahoma. He might as well go to the bigger school. I guess some people might call it Big Brother. And I think it's an underrated gift for Oklahoma. You're watching him right now, and he's got a great arm, feels the pocket really well, sees the field, great touch. I think he might end up being a surprise pickup for Oklahoma down the line, honestly.
6'1", 175 pounds. They're going to have to pack some weight on him, but man, he can layer throws. He's accurate. He's got functional mobility. Definitely a guy that you can see becoming a player if he's permitted 2 or 3 years to develop at Oklahoma under the tutelage of Ben Arbuckle. On to the highest rated defensive signee for the Sooners in the entire class.
One of my favorites.
That is 4-star safety Omarion Robinson from Little Rock, Arkansas. He was outstanding when we saw him live at the Rivals 5-star in June. Had an outstanding senior season that was unfortunately cut short due to an injury. He's the number 41 player in the nation, number 1 player in the state of Arkansas, number 3 safety in the country. This is a dog, Brandon.
Yeah, he is a playmaker. He's exciting. Everything that he does, whether it's punt return, kick return, playing wide receiver, playing the safety position, he's going to lock you down man-to-man. He's going to come down in his run fits and just light your world up. He does it all. I talked to a source earlier today, and they, I guess as a whole, the staff was watching Man-Man's film, and they were so excited. They feel they got a steal. A lot of people don't have him as rated as high as Rivals does, and I'm glad we do because I think we might end up being right at the end of the day. He's that good.
Oklahoma has had so many of those do-it-all safeties in recent years. Billy Bowman and Peyton Bowen, 2 excellent current examples. Omarion Robinson seems to be cut from that same cloth. Definitely somebody that should contend for early playing time at OU. I like this next kid a lot, man. 3-star defensive end Alex Shield Knight from Wagner, Oklahoma. That's a football town if you've ever been out there. Shield Knight, only 6'2", 225 pounds, doesn't have elite measurables, but I tell you, Brandon, having watched him in person multiple times, this is a kid that has one of the best motors I've ever seen, and that alone is going to be enough, combined with his athleticism and strength, to make him a player at the next level.
So, everybody wants to talk about size, right? Our Mason Thomas isn't the biggest guy in the world, but you watch him, he's got a first step, he's got a motor. I'm not comparing him athletically to our Mason Thomas, that's not fair at all. But he's a football player.
He's a bully.
Every bit of him loves the game of football. And those type of guys somehow, some way, always end up playing for Brent Venables. I don't know how it works, but he fits everything about Oklahoma, and that's why I think he's a good get.
The longest standing commitment turned signee in Oklahoma's 2025 class is 4-star wide receiver Elijah Thomas from Chakota, Oklahoma. Superstar potential with this kid. He is an incredibly gifted football player. Speed, ball skills, route running ability. He is a dominant force on the gridiron, can play both ways. The Sooners are going to start him out at receiver. We'll see. Brandon Hall may have something to say about that. He may want to challenge Ben Arbuckle and Emmett Jones to arm wrestling matches, which Emmett would probably win. But nonetheless, you're looking at the number 132 player in the nation, the number 1 player in the state of Oklahoma, and he's been all OU from the jump, Brandon, committed on July 27th, 2023.
He has, and he's also been a fixture behind the scenes. Everybody wanted to talk about Kevin Sperry and what that was going to do to the class. It didn't matter. As long as Elijah Thomas was in the class, everything was probably going to stay together, and it did, for the most part. Brandon Hall's continued to recruit him. I think I want to make that very clear to everybody. He was the first to see him. He was the first to point him out to everybody. Obviously, the offensive staff really, really wanted him. They ended up with him, and he's got a chance to be an NFL guy at wide receiver because of that.
4 more. Let's hit Trinae Washington real quick. This is a guy that can play a multiplicity of positions on the football field, but the Sooners like him at tight end, 6'3", 200 pounds, and he did a little bit of everything in high school for Carl Albert. Super underrated, freak of an athlete. You're talking about a guy that is, 6'2", 6'3", 210 pounds, playing corner? That's how he's framed. He fits the tight end spot. He's going to put the weight on. I think he's got a chance to be one of those guys when we look back saying, okay, maybe Joe John knew what he was talking about getting this guy at the end of the day. I know it wasn't Nate Roberts. I know it wasn't Deshaun Brame or anybody like that, but this guy has a chance to be really, really good just because he's athletic and he's got a great frame. 4-star defensive lineman Trent Wilson from the state of Maryland is the kid to whom Brent Venables was referring earlier today when he said, the kid looks like he's 40. And he does, and that's not just in the face, Brandon. He is built like a grown man. Biceps like hams. This was an amazing get for Oklahoma at the time when they convinced him to shut things down early in April. He's the lone defensive tackle commit in this class, and he is a dang good one.
He might. There's a reason to think that he might be the best defensive tackle in the country. I think we have him number 5, right? So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could end up being the best in this class. He dominated the Rivals 5-star camp. You watch his film and you get to see just how physical he is. His first step, he uses his hands great. He's got heavy hands, physical hands. Just has a high motor as well. He has a chance to put on weight because he barely has any body fat. And that right there tells you, that's all you got to know, man. The dude has a long frame, good body fat. I know 6'1" doesn't seem that tall, but he's longer than 6'1" when you look at his body. And, I mean, he's going to put on weight. He's going to be about 300, 305, and really be a force in the middle for Oklahoma.
The last defensive signee we need to hit is such a likable kid, small town gem from the state of Arkansas, Marcus Wimberly. Now, don't be fooled, folks. Yes, he's only a modest 4-star outside the Rivals 250, but athletic freak. Ran a laser-timed 4.48 in the 40-yard dash at the Under Armour camp down in Dallas back in March. Had a vert of 40 inches confirmed. Freak of an athlete, Brandon, and he has been all in with Oklahoma since the day he committed, all the way back in early April.
Michigan wanted him so very badly, and if Michigan wants you, you can play some defense. He is, like you said, a physical freak, amazing 40 time, amazing vert, amazing broad jump. A source today said that, and I quote, that kid will play and play quite a bit as a freshman. They love his frame, they love his speed, they love his physicality. He fits the culture. He's just a great kid overall.
Love his leadership as well. That's the guy that in our signing day superlatives piece, Brandon, you cited as your future team captain, and he certainly fits that bill. A leader of young men already, even at his young age. All right, the one exception to our alphabetical order protocol throughout this whole ordeal.
Yep.
Last, but certainly not least, in fact, perhaps greatest, the lone 5-star in the class for the Sooners. Offensive tackle Michael Fasusi out of Louisville, Texas, a guy that we had long said even before he committed to Oklahoma, Brandon, was probably the most college-ready offensive tackle in the nation. Number 12 overall nationally, number 4 in the state of Texas, and the number 2 offensive tackle per Rivals in the entire country. It was a hotly contested battle all the way till the end with Texas and Texas A&M. But Oklahoma hung on to Fasusi, and Bill Bedenbaugh has his highest-rated signee ever.
Yeah, this thing got a bit dicey last night, but Oklahoma, Brent Venables shut that thing down real quick late last night, and everybody was all happy this morning. Great frame, great feet, and he's not even remotely close to being done with his footwork, with everything that he can be, because he's brand new to all this stuff. So this is a get for Oklahoma, and a guy that has a chance to play early and play often, and first round potential, I don't even think that's a question. This is a great get for Oklahoma.
So we've talked about the 18 guys that did wind up in Oklahoma's signing class. Let's talk about the guys that planned on it at one point, but ultimately their plans, for one reason or another, changed or fell through. Floyd Bucard, 4-star defensive tackle from the state of Florida, was committed to OU at one point. He wound up decommitting and settling on USC. Marcus Harris was committed to Oklahoma all the way up until this past weekend before backing off his pledge. He committed to Washington today. Kevin Sperry was a long-time commit, 4-star at the quarterback position. Pledged to OU all the way back in March of 2023. That held until late November when he flipped quite abruptly to Florida State. Jaden Nickens, 3-star wideout, formerly of Millwood High in Oklahoma City. He's now out in California. He backed off a long-time pledge to Oklahoma in March and wound up committing to play 2 sports at the University of Kansas. Kamari Moore, 3-star defensive lineman from Lee Summit, Missouri. Another guy that was committed to OU for over a year before backing off and pledging to Iowa State. Grayson Harris, 3-star wideout from Ennis, Texas, was pledged to Oklahoma. He would have been, had he signed today, would have been the longest standing commitment in the entire class for OU, but decommitted just a couple days ago. He has yet to settle on a final destination. And here's the one that everybody's talking about today, and we're about to bring in a special guest who can give us more insight on what exactly went down with Cortez Mills, the 4-star wide receiver out of Homestead, Florida, who committed to OU in July and flipped to Nebraska at his signing day ceremony this very morning. Let's welcome to the show Rivals Southeast recruiting analyst John Garcia Jr. He was as plugged into the Mills recruitment as anybody. John, thanks so much for being willing to jump on with us for a couple minutes here. What happened? Cortez Mills was a Sooner last night. He was a Husker this morning.
I went through coaching changes. The OC, obviously, at Oklahoma, and then the receivers coach goes down, in the last 36 hours at Nebraska. So you could understand why there was a delay in the original plan. He was at a bit of a crossroads. The first flip destination or target date was going to be Tuesday. It was going to be the day before National Signing Day. He went quiet during that time as he tried to sort of shuffle and figure out exactly what he wanted to do. And then obviously on National Signing Day, he followed through with that flip over to Nebraska. I mean, he was pretty short with me in explaining exactly why he picked the Huskers. He mentioned comfort. He mentions that familiarity that was established earlier in his recruiting process. But look, there was change on both coaching staffs. So this thing felt close. He felt torn to a degree, but ultimately in the end, I think he just felt a little bit more comfortable with what Nebraska's putting out there.
Did any of it have to do with, obviously, Dylan Raiola being the quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. Look, Cortez is a Miami guy, very much, you don't want to say look at me, but, receivers get a connotation for a reason. I think that is absolutely a part of it. The quarterback turmoil or turnover, I should say, in Norman, I think absolutely played a part in this thing. And look, perception is important. We talk about it every cycle. If we're reacting as adults and professionals who have been in this for X amount of years, imagine being 16, 17, 18 years old saying, hey, I'm supposed to go to this school, and now things look, slightly different or maybe very much different than what I thought at the most important position relative to my own success. So I do think Raiola is a big part of that, but at that same token, turnover on the coaching staff at Nebraska, and now he's got some portal rumors, surrounding his name. So it really does work both ways, which is why I think the timing and the execution of all of this was very much fluid.
John Garcia, Rivals National Southeast recruiting analyst. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes with us.
Absolutely, fellas. Thanks for having me.
That is John Garcia. And that is one commit that Oklahoma expected, I shouldn't say expected, hoped to get this morning. Looked for all the world at his ceremony like he was poised to sign with the Sooners. It was as interesting of a pump fake as I've seen in the recruiting world in quite some time. He puts on the Oklahoma shirt, says he's signing with the University of Oklahoma, then pulls it off, and he's got a Nebraska shirt on underneath. So Cortez Mills, a Husker and no longer a Sooner. The Sooners, however, they're in pretty good shape at the wide receiver position with Elijah Thomas and Emmanuel Choice. We'll dig into that a little bit more later on, but we got our first guest ready to join us here. Four-star safety, Omarion Robinson. Omarion Robinson is not ready to join us. I take that back. He was ready to join us. It appears he is no longer ready to join us. We will get him reconnected. But we mentioned Elijah Thomas. We mentioned Emmanuel Choice. Those are the two wide receivers that stuck this thing out with Oklahoma all the way till signing day. Grayson Harris dropped off. Marcus Harris dropped off. Ultimately, right at the time where push came to shove, Cortez Mills dropped off as well. But personally, Brandon, I think they kept the two best guys in Elijah Thomas and Emmanuel Choice. If you were only going to keep two of the five, if you were only going to hang on to two of the five, those were the two.
Those were the two they really, really wanted. Now, obviously, they wanted Cortez Mills, and they weren't trying to push Cortez Mills out. But when you talk to everybody, around Oklahoma, they'll sit there and tell you, hey, Elijah Thomas obviously was way up there, and he was probably, the top guy that they wanted, and then Choice was right there below it. So he's, as far as that goes, that was the top two choices.
We now have Omarion Robinson ready to jump on with us. Again, the highest rated defensive signee of the entire class for Oklahoma, number 41 player in the nation, number 1 in the state of Arkansas, and number 3 nationally at the safety position, and he is wearing his crimson. Omarion, thanks so much for joining us. How excited are you to officially be a Sooner?
I'm too excited. I'm ready to go now.
What's up, man?
What's up?
How's the baby girl doing?
She's doing good.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you live in the state of Arkansas. It's very heavy, hog wild there. How hard was it for you to stick with Oklahoma? Obviously, the in-state school was probably pushing pretty hard. Did you have any pressure?
Of course, it was a lot of pressure, but it wasn't just for me, it wasn't the in-state school that was pushing hard for me. The in-state school wasn't pushing hard like everybody up there.
Was it Oregon?
Yeah, it was Oregon.
Yeah. How hard was it to hold them off?
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah. So let's go back to the genesis of your recruitment, Omarion. Brandon Hall offered you all the way back in January of 2023. So that is a relationship at this point that dates back nearly 2 full years. What was it about Coach Hall throughout the process that gave you the trust necessary to believe that you could go play football at the University of Oklahoma and be in the right hands?
Coach Hall, he a good guy. Like, if you know him, like, you know, like, he a good guy. He's somebody that you can trust. Like, just by the way he talk, by the way he move. He always asks about my family. Always talks to my parents. Make sure they straight. And I just trust him and believe that he can get me to the next level.
Do you have any, wishes to be a punt returner or kick returner in the next level as well?
Oh, yes, sir.
What makes you so good? Like, what do you think is your best attribute?
My best, that's a good one. I don't know. Just when the ball's in my hands, something great gonna happen.
Now, we're going to hear a little bit later on from Marcus Wimberly, the other blue chip safety commit from the natural state that also signed with Oklahoma this morning. The Sooners had not signed a scholarship player from the state of Arkansas since 2019. Now they get 2 of them in the same year. I know when we had the chance to talk to Marcus, and his interview is pre-taped later on, but when we had the chance to talk with him, he cited the relationship that you all built over the process as something that he really cherishes. As you've gotten to know Marcus throughout the process and through your shared affinity for the University of Oklahoma and your shared future here, what stands out about him? What do you like about that kid, and what do you think he brings to the safety room at Oklahoma?
He gonna definitely bring the energy. Me and Marcus, we got close over the summer. Before he had committed, and he was just after he committed, he stayed reaching out. He stayed checking up on me and my family. You know, he a good guy. We probably gonna be roommates up there at the University of Oklahoma. You know, he gonna be right. That's my guy. We just getting closer and closer.
Obviously, Brent Venables has a very, aggressive style defense. When you look at Oregon, when you look at Oklahoma, was it distance? Was it the type of defense you were going to be playing in? Was it the type of development? Like, what was your overall reasoning for making your decision in the end?
A big thing for me and for me picking the school was a defensive headed mind coach, and they both some defensive headed mind coaches. But like on my visit to Oklahoma, they're like genuine people. Like it's just a different feeling for like that me and my family that like we felt when we was there. In Oregon, it was the same, but it was different.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, we talked about the relationship with Marcus. I want to dig into this camaraderie that you all share here in the 2025 class, because it's a smaller class, it's a more intimate class. But aside from Marcus, whom you obviously share the Arkansas lineage with, who are some other guys in the class that are also signed to Oklahoma that you've built really solid relationships with and are just excited to go to battle with in Norman?
All right. But can you ask the question again?
Yeah, so outside of Marcus, whom we talked about already, who are some of the other guys in this class that you've grown close with throughout the process and are excited to go to battle with when you get to Norman?
Courtney, Maliek, Michael Fasusi. You know, we got a big group chat. We all stay in touch. And I thought it was gonna be Marcus and what's the other name? I thought it was gonna be Marcus Harris and the other receiver that I decommitted. But you know, like me and Marcus stayed in touch too. But yeah, those guys, y'all ready to see what's gonna happen in the next few years for us.
Here's a super chat question from the YouTube super chat, courtesy of Mongo. Mongo wants to know, Omarion, with a loaded safety room with you and Marcus included, what excites you the most about having all of the competition around you from year one?
All the competition in year one, it's gonna be good going into the SEC, and we're gonna come in there and make an immediate impact for the safety room, for the whole Oklahoma organization, and we're gonna make a big impact in the ACC.
So, Omarion, obviously, you've gone up against some of the best wide receivers in the nation, right? How excited are you to just go through practice at Oklahoma? You've seen it. You've seen how physical it gets. What about that excites you? Just the practice, the coaches, just the intensity. Like what you've seen it. What is that excites you about Oklahoma and just how they go about things?
Going up against the best, you can't do nothing but get better. And like that's the main thing for me, like getting better each and every day that I step on the field. Cause like I don't want to waste no time when I step on the field. Cause you don't never know like when the last moment gonna be. So like just getting better every rep.
Yeah. Now, Omarion, this is something that I asked Marcus about it last night. I asked Maliek about it, and I know you guys, as you mentioned, are real tight knit as a secondary group and as a class, but. I'm curious to hear your answer. Oklahoma goes 6-6 in 2024. It's not the season that anybody wanted or expected. What gives you belief, having spent time around the program, having spent time around this roster and this coaching staff, that what happened in 2024 is not going to be repeated?
Just look at Oklahoma history. Look at Coach Venables' history. It's gonna be great. It's just the first year in the ACC. And then we got it's a lot of players that's hurt out for the season. So next year, it's gonna be way different. Everybody is just talking down. Like it's just a lot of outside noise, but they don't really know like what go on inside Oklahoma. It's a brotherhood up there. Everybody stay together. Everybody know like what's gonna happen in a few years or next 2 years, anything like that. So you just gotta have trust and faith.
You obviously had a debilitating injury that ended your season. Can you kind of give everybody a synopsis of where things stand with your injury as far as rehab goes?
Yeah, I had surgery like 4 weeks ago. I've been rehabbing it ever since. I'm back walking, jogging, and running, stuff like that. I've been practicing, and the doctor cleared me like last week, and she was like, whenever I feel like I can play, then I can go. And it just been getting better each and every day.
Is your season over?
Nah, we got a championship game Friday.
Are you playing in it?
Yeah, I'm playing.
Oh, wow.
Wow, how about that?
Yes,
One
sir.
Tough customer. Man,
Yes,
here's a question that kind of piggybacks off of that one. Once your high school season wraps up, once you hopefully win a state championship this Friday, are you going to be joining the team for bowl prep, or will you just enroll in January?
That's something I'm gonna have to talk to Coach Hall about it.
Got one more super chat from Jacob Matthews. What do you like more, big hits or getting a pick?
Getting the pick.
Yeah, why is that?
Cause I like the ball in my hands, and when I get the ball in my hands, just like I said, some great things gonna happen.
By the way, to those of you all watching at home throughout the show, throughout the evening, if you have questions for Omarion or any of the other live interviewees that we're going to talk with, by all means, throw us a super chat. And the promise that we make you every single week is you give us a question in super chat form, we're going to answer it. If it's for us, we'll hit it. If it's for one of them, we'll ask it to them. Omarion, man, thanks so much for taking the time. We appreciate you jumping on the OU Insider Signing Day special. Very, very excited to watch your career as a Sooner unfold.
Yes, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you, bud.
Yes, sir.
That is four-star safety Omarion Robinson. Again, the highest-rated defensive signee of the class for OU. And a kid that's going to be very motivated to show up to Oklahoma and make things happen, Brandon.
Yeah, he's a special kid. Obviously, he's dynamic on the football field, but he fits everything that Oklahoma is about. He's about winning. I think that's the one thing. He comes from a winning program, and if a play needs to be made, whether defensively, whether it's punt return, kick return, somehow, some way, he always makes it. And I think those are the type of players you want in your program, and those are the type of players that can take Oklahoma and, make that next step in the SEC.
we talked about the secondary at great length, both in the class introductions and with Omarion there, and it's a really impressive class. As I see it, 3 real areas of strength for OU in this 2025 cycle. The offensive line, headlined by Fasusi and Foje, certainly the secondary. For the second consecutive class, Brandon Hall and Jay Valai cleaned up.
Yeah.
Got pretty much all of their top targets locked in and on board. And then, of course, wide receiver. Even though, Brandon, like 72 hours ago, Oklahoma had 5 wide receiver commits. Today they signed 2. Even so, though, as we talked about earlier, Elijah Thomas and Emmanuel Choice are 2 really, really special dudes. And 2 dudes that, regardless of how deep Oklahoma's receiver room is next season, certainly have the potential to contribute, in an immediate capacity. Now, here is where we welcome a very valued member of the OU Insider family. You know him, you love him, Coach Brian Clinton. He co-hosts the Oklahoma Drill podcast with Jesse Crittenden, and he also has become kind of a cult hero in OU circles for his Field Vision series on YouTube. And so we figured, look, we got 3 hours to break down and talk to every single member of this class. Let's have Brian dig into the film and show you all what really makes a few dudes in this Oklahoma signing class really special. So, with that, a great place to start is the guy that's been committed the longest, a guy whose name we've already said quite a few times throughout the show. Here is Brian Clinton's evaluation of Elijah Thomas.
All right, Oklahoma fans, I'm excited about this one. Being an Oklahoma guy, Elijah Thomas is somebody I have heard plenty about, and if you live in the Sooner State, you have heard plenty about him as well. The wide receiver out of Shakota High School. He's listed as a 4-star, 6'1", 190 pounds, number 151 player in the country, number 25 wide receiver in the class, and the number 1 player in the state of Oklahoma coming out of high school. There are a lot of things that jump off the tape about Elijah Thomas, but the first thing is he's pretty much faster than anyone else on the field, and I don't just mean in a straight line. He regularly breezes by defenders when he gets in the open field. He exhibits a very, very natural ability to put the brakes on at a moment's notice and pick things right back up again very quick, and he's got legit track speed, and you can see it even in pads. He's got track speed and explosiveness. He's recorded a 10.700 meter, and he's a state champion in the long jump over 24 feet and 2 inches. So that shows up in a big way on the field. He is so difficult to wrangle in the open field. And when you combine that with the fact that he has excellent size and length for a player at his position coming out of high school, this is somebody to be really excited about. He's already pretty well developed as an athlete coming out of high school, and he should only benefit once he gets in the strength and conditioning program in Norman. There are times when you have to wait for a player to adjust to the college level physically, but it does not appear that Thomas is going to have any issue with that. And then the other thing that's just really exciting about him is the ball skills. He has enough film on both sides of the ball to show that he can be an excellent player at wide receiver or as a safety. But when he gets the ball in his hands is when the lights come on. That's when Elijah Thomas becomes a superstar. He has a great ability to locate and track the ball in the air. He's exceptional at making contested catches. He's got strong hands. And you can see that he is a next level playmaker when he's got space to operate with. So this makes him a very intriguing addition to the Sooners wide receiver room, but also makes you wonder, could he be a potential star for Oklahoma as a returner in special teams? So this is a big get for Brent Venables and the Sooners. Gotta love what you see with Elijah Thomas. Cannot wait to see what he does as a member of the Sooners 2025 recruiting class.
Carrie Underwood is widely regarded as Shakota's finest. Brandon, but Elijah Thomas may give her a run for her money here within the next few years because, again, the tape suggests that you may have a future NFL dude and a good one on your hands.
Yeah, he's a good player. I don't know about giving Carrie Underwood a run for her money, but yeah, he's going to be a stud. He's going to be in the NFL, and I think he has a chance to be all-conference by the time he's a junior, and I wholeheartedly believe that.
Well, and it really says something about a guy too, Brandon. When you look at a school like Chakotay, it's 3A in Oklahoma. You think, okay, that's not the greatest competition. Of course, any guy that is athletically superior like that is going to excel at the 3A level. How special can Elijah Thomas really be? It really says something, though, and we've witnessed this time and again over the years, when everybody on both sidelines knows who's getting the ball, and you're powerless to do anything about it.
So, my kid went out with me to, I think it was Salisaw, and there was a team camp. And it didn't take him, you're talking about a 9-year-old. He spotted him at the beginning. He's number 0, right, Dad? So, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? See ball, get ball. The guy's a really good athlete. You can tell by his frame. It took one play for a 9-year-old to see how good he was. So I think everybody's going to know by his sophomore year who Elijah Thomas is.
The acceleration, the
It's
speed,
stupid.
the elusiveness. You just get the ball in his hands, and he can make crazy stuff happen. I witnessed it just 2 weeks ago in a playoff game. Chakotay ended up going to the state semifinals for the first time in 30 years, and Elijah Thomas was the reason why. They were out in Bristow, playing on the road. He had 270 yards and 4 touchdown catches in that game. But what was most impressive was Chakotay trails that game 32-28. There's 45 seconds left. It's do or die.
Screen.
Do or die. They just call a screenplay to Elijah Thomas. Just get the ball in his hands. He does the rest. 76 yards to the crib, and Chakotay's advancing just like that. So again, really speaks volumes for a kid like that when everybody knows that he's the best player on the field, and everybody knows that he's the one guy you have to stop if you want to win the game, and he still can't do it.
Yeah, he's a dominant player. It's his physicality. Somebody told me the other day they expect after just a few months with Schmitty and the nutrition that they wouldn't be shocked if he was already 200 pounds by the time football season rolls around. And a legit 200, running a 4.5, 4.4, like that kid with that much talent, that much agility, he's got a chance to just come in and make the rotation really, really quick.
Staying on the topic of wide receivers, let's talk about the other guy. And of course, we hit him in class introductions, but he, like Thomas, warrants a deeper evaluation.
Yep.
How is it that Emmanuel Choice has not gotten his due from the recruiting services yet? Because the kid is certifiably amazing as a prospect. The biggest compliment that I think I can give him, and you gotta, not everybody's gonna understand this, at least at face value, but he's a 6'4" kid who runs and moves like he's 5'10". Somebody that tall, somebody that lengthy is not supposed to move as effortlessly as Emmanuel Choice moves.
Plaxico Burress. That's, Michigan State version Plaxico Burress, Steelers version Plaxico Burress. Like, that was the Plaxico Burress that everybody watched, and you got to see him. He would get screens. He would do everything just because he moved differently than most people that are 6'4", 210 pounds, and that's exactly what you see in Manny Choice. So I think Oklahoma got a steal. Who cares what the recruiting services say at this point? This guy's going to come in. He's going to prove everybody wrong. I'll never understand it, but I think most of it has to do with the fact that the people play off branding nowadays, and he doesn't brand himself all that much.
Very
He just
low-key.
goes, plays ball, goes home, and rinse, wash, repeat. That's what he is.
We tried to get him on this show. There was no response from Manny Choice. That's just the type of dude he is.
Yeah.
He's a ball player, and that's it. He's focused on the right things. He'll be focused on the right things when he gets to Oklahoma. And it's tough to throw darts with really anybody coming out of high school and say, that dude's going to be a first-round pick one day. There are exceptions to every rule. You could look at Caleb Williams and say, okay, that's a first-round pick. It's going to be really hard to screw that one up. So the guy's got to be developed, and you would expect that he will be under the tutelage of Emmett Jones. But Emmanuel Choice does have first-round potential.
He does.
If everything breaks right for him, he avoids injury. and he's able to get on the field early and just get a feel for the speed of the collegiate game and what it's going to take to excel at the next level. Brian Clinton is now back to take a deeper look at the film on Manny Choice.
There's a lot to be excited about with this one. Emmanuel Choice, 3-star wide receiver out of Lancaster High School. Many feel that this is a diamond in the rough for Oklahoma. A lot of people really wondering why this guy has been stuck at 3-star status, and it's easy to wonder why. He's 6'4", he's 202 pounds, carries his weight really well. He's very well developed. Listed as the number 71 wide receiver in the class, number 82 player overall in the state of Texas. Guys, this is a guy that has immense upside. He's got long levers. He's strong, shows a lot of strength, has a really wide catch radius. You can see that he's not an absolute burner, but you do see him build up speed with his long strides as he covers ground. So that's a great quality to have, especially for a guy who really shows a propensity to stretch the field in the vertical passing game. We see some great overall characteristics here. Obviously, his build and height makes him a huge target, and he's already very, very well physically developed. Most players with his frame at his age need to put on quite a bit of weight, but he comes in already at 202 pounds, and he'll obviously benefit from strength and conditioning program at Oklahoma, but not necessarily worried about his frame being too fragile. He's got excellent ball skills. That's another thing that shows up. As we mentioned, that large catch radius, he shows an excellent feel for attacking the football too. High points it well, shows a great propensity for tracking the football. He finds it in the air quickly and adjusts well. We see strong hands. The ball seems to stick to his hands really well, and he's got long arms that he uses pretty regularly to overpower defenders in jump ball situations. He also uses those well to create space between he and a defender. So that's a really good quality as well. And again, at 6'4", 200 pounds, he is incredibly agile for his size. He runs crisp routes, has really fluid movement in and out of his breaks, and he shows a great understanding of the route tree. So he positions himself well and makes big plays and always seems to be picking up extra yards after the catch. So, it doesn't necessarily matter that he doesn't have blazing speed. He is definitely quick enough, and he's difficult to carry, as we mentioned, because of his length and stride. He's a guy that definitely can hurt you down the field, and I only expect that to get better as he develops and becomes more mature as a wide receiver. This is a big get for Oklahoma. Lots to like about this guy, and certainly one of the more underrated players in Oklahoma's 2025 recruiting class.
And for more insight on Choice and a couple other DFW area signees for the Sooners here in the 2025 recruiting cycle, we bring in Kenny Matthews of Friday Night Glory. Now, if you don't live in DFW, you're probably wondering, what on earth is Friday Night Glory? But if you live in DFW, you know exactly what Friday Night Glory is, and you know exactly who Kenny Matthews is. Kenny, welcome to the show, man. A pleasure to have you always.
Man, thanks so much, man, for having me on, guys. Enjoy your work like always, man. I hate this time of the season because I don't get to see you as much.
No, we miss you as well, my friend. Now, we obviously were just talking about Emmanuel Choice there, a guy that still somehow has a 3-star designation despite the fact that he's got some real superstar qualities. What are your thoughts on him, having watched him in the past?
I just got to echo you guys' comments just earlier. I mean, I don't understand coming from, Lancaster. It's Lancaster, not Lancaster. I've been ripped for that a few times. But he plays at a high level program here in the Metroplex, and all he does is go out and make plays. I just don't understand. He's got the size. I mean, maybe the knock is he's not a blazer, but if you look at him, he catches everything with his hand. I mean, he never tries to catch the ball with his shoulder pads. He's got humongous hands. I mean, I think you guys made a great comparison to Plexico Burris. You know, I was thinking him. I was thinking kind of Jermaine Gerson was another guy that I kind of thought kind of a freak. You know, another Oklahoma guy that he just flew under the radar. It seemed like all year, and I expected him to get a bump, and he didn't get a bump. So anyhow, I think you guys alluded to it. It really doesn't matter where he's ranked now. This is the kind of guy that's a red zone threat right now that I think could really help next year. I don't think this is a guy that you automatically think he's going to be a redshirt guy because he's got the physical tools.
Well, there's another big-time DFW guy that, he kind of made some waves over the last few weeks, but Oklahoma reeled him in. What's your overall thoughts on Michael Fasusi?
First thing you look at Michael Fasusi, I mean, been in the business for 14 years now. I have not seen an offensive tackle have that kind of feat. You know, the feet that guy has is just amazing for a guy to be 285, 290 pounds and 6'4". It's just amazing that his soccer background, obviously from Nigeria, helps out a lot. He may have been the biggest soccer goalie, I think, ever, at one time. But what I really liked about him is that he gutted through his senior year. He was never healthy this year. I mean, he was hurt in training camp. He missed a couple games, but, he still came out there. And I think, Brandon, when you and I were at the Denton Guyer game, the way he came out and was still competing against that strong front four from Denton Guyer and getting secondary blocks, it just wasn't good enough to destroy a defensive end. He was trying to clip the linebacker or safety that was trying to come into the play, too. That just tells you a lot about his heart. Is he a little raw? Absolutely. He's going to have to refine. He's going to have to get some technique. I think he needs to get stronger in his lower body. But he's got all the tools to be a first-round draft pick in 3 years. I mean, if he just puts his mind to it, which he's got a great mind, and his work ethic, the sky is the limit for this guy. And it was a must-win for us. We needed this to happen. As agonizing as it was worth it.
Got one more for you, Kenny, before we let you go. We're about to talk to the man. 3-star offensive line commit, or I should say signee now. Keep making that mistake. Owen Hollenbeck out of Melissa. Man, 6'3", 340 pounds, wide-bodied, strong as an ox. What's to like about Owen Hollenbeck and your experience watching him on the football field?
Marker, we got to see him last year several times. We got to see him again several times this year. I call him the Melissa Sherman tank. He just doesn't move. That guy's calves and legs are so big. He reportedly was at 358 pounds. His powerlifting has added to that weight. But this guy is just exactly what we need in the SEC. He knows how to play interior offensive line. He comes with the nastiness. He plays in that gray area. He brings his pads. And the one thing that I really do like about him, he's not afraid to bring it on every stinking play. We don't have to get him pumped up. Betting Bo will not have to try to get him to play every play. He already does that. And his smart IQ is really going to be huge at the center position for us, getting proper alignments with the guards and the tackles and the thing. I've loved this guy since day one. I thought, I know interior linemen generally don't get 4 stars. I understand that part of it, especially centers. But there's not more of a critical position on the Oklahoma offensive line to me than getting the tackles and the center taken care of. You can always take those interior guys and get guards in there. But when you get elite play from those two positions, you can compete in the SEC.
His eye paint fits his personality to a T on the field, right? And another DFW guy, right? Dusty Dvorak had the same stuff going back when he played. They're very, very similar as far as personality on the field.
Oh, Kenny, we appreciate your insight as always, brother. Great to catch up with you, and happy signing day.
Appreciate you.
Hey, happy signing day and Fasusi day. We got a little bubbly for it. Finally, we can pop the bubbly. Fasusi.
Ready to uncork it. That's
we have a special thing coming for y'all then here later on.
Thanks, Tell Owen
I
talk to you soon.
Talk to you.
Hey, our food has arrived. How about this, Brandon? Got some wings for you.
Yes, sir.
Got a Philly for me. And got a guy about to join us that Kenny was obviously just referencing there towards the end in 3-star Oklahoma offensive line commit, Owen Hollenbeck. He eats good, man. He's got crazy muscle on that 340-pound frame. He joins us now to wait. He is not joining us just now. He's joining us momentarily.
There he is.
Wait.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, we have him. I guess we don't have his video, just his audio, which is fine. But here is Owen Hollenbeck, folks. Oh, there's his video.
There he
Hey,
is.
sorry about that. One of my
What's going on,
computers
man?
scratched.
Oh, all right, man. Great to have you. Thanks for stopping by. And man, you are a long-standing commitment to the University of Oklahoma. Gave your pledge to Beaton Bow and the OU staff all the way back in December of last year. Well, publicly, I think you actually silently committed in November. But man, what gave you the confidence so early on in the process to pull the trigger on OU?
Really, it's just I felt that it checked all my boxes, and it was very like everything they preached and that they showed us really was just something I was like majority of like looking for in a program.
You talk to everybody about your personality on the field. I mean, you're a road grader. You play with that nasty vibe, but then you're the nicest guy off the field. Like when we talk to you afterwards, you and your family are just so cordial and nice. Like, what is that? That flip, that switch.
Really, it's just something I was taught from a young age, be that nice guy off the field, and then once you get on the field, flip that switch and be the biggest bad mother trucker you could possibly be, and basically dominate everyone.
And you are certainly that. Now, you get to join forces, or I should say rejoin forces, with an old high school teammate at Oklahoma. Nigel Smith, former four-star defensive line signee in the 2024 class, took a redshirt this year for Oklahoma, but was a big-time addition for the program a season ago. How excited are you to get to go to battle with that guy again on Saturdays?
I'm very excited. I'm excited to go against him again, if possible, to see what he's learned in the time he's been gone. And I remember our last battles, we were pretty 50-50, so I'm excited to get that new challenge for me.
So the eye paint, I've referenced it a couple of times. Where does that stem from? Like what made you want to do that? The eye paint, the warrior paint. Is that just kind of part of the personality on the field? Where does that come from?
Really, my face paint just comes from like I don't remember what struck it up first, but I remember I thought about it and I was like, if I was someone else and I lined up against me, I wouldn't want to line up again the next play. And I remember looking at that and I was like thinking about that. I'm like, I'm gonna start playing with this a bit, and I really liked it. And so like I researched some different like designs that went with like old Sioux or Cherokee type style face paints, and that's kind of what I went with.
Oh, and let me ask you this. I feel like this is a question that people would love to know an offensive lineman's answer to as I prepare to take a bite of this Philly cheesesteak here at Sooner Daiquiri. What is your pregame meal of choice, or postgame meal of choice, if you prefer?
I'll definitely go post meal, because pregame it's kind of just what we're fed, but postgame it's definitely me and my running back. It would be like a ritual. We would go over to the Kroger's that was built this last year, and we would get a bottle of chocolate milk, a box of like their donuts that they made in the morning, and then we'll get ourselves some beef jerky and like a Gatorade. And that was like our ritual thing we would do post game, just to like get that sugars, the carbs, and everything.
It's a very odd combination, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
It's sugars and carbs, that's for sure. If nothing else, it is sugars and carbs.
Very.
So, you played DFW. I'm interested to find out who is the best defensive lineman you've ever gone up against.
That's a tough one, really.
There's a lot of good ones.
Think about like, I think some of the best defensive linemen I might have played were they weren't even DFW. Like this season, we played Parkview out of Arkansas, and that was probably my favorite defensive line I played against overall.
You got to play
if I had to pick
future Sooner in that game, in Omarion Robinson.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Like,
I cut you off. What were you saying?
Oh no, I said if I was gonna pick from DFW, I would probably pick Anna. I'd pick the Anna's defensive line, mostly because sometimes they would throw over some offensive linemen and it'd just be fun to go against that heavier weight.
Here's a question for you. I don't know how prevalently it gets tossed around on social media, out in the public domain. I know it gets thrown around a lot on message boards, behind paywalls, where people can pretty much just say anything because, they pay their $10 a month, and it entitles them to free reign behind the comfort of an internet avatar. But there seems to be this common thread amongst so many of those folks that, Bill Bedenbaugh, he's 52, 53. He can't relate to these kids the way that a younger coach could. He's not very personable. He's prickly. Like, what is your experience of Bill Bedenbaugh been as somebody that's actually not only had conversations with him, but been building a relationship with him at this point for over a year and a half?
Well, what I'd have to say about Coach B is that by far I can say that he's probably one of the most knowledgeable coaches I know, and that out of every coach I've met and that is still continuing in the game, is that his developmental process is by far, I think, better than everyone I've seen. And it resembles a lot of what I was taught in high school to my previous O-line coach, Coach Rosh, which this last year he ended up leaving. He was very strict, very firm, but he was still a family and loving guy when it came down to it outside of football. But when it came to football, it's about the work, it's about the effort, and it's about getting stuff done.
A lot of people refer you and say you look like Creed Humphrey's doppelganger. We've had a lot of that in the comments section already on this live. People are asking for you to grow a mullet out so that you can be just like him whenever you get to Norman. But overall, playing the center position at Oklahoma, there's been a lot of good players that have played at Oklahoma and been centers there. You've got Gabe Eichert. Obviously, you have Creed Humphreys. I'm trying to think who was another one that was just recently back in 2010 or 2015. Ty
Darlington.
Ty Darlington.
Eric Rain was a good one.
Eric Rain. Yeah. You got Rain. A lot of those guys. Is that something you look forward to? Just kind of the expectation of having to play at a very high level at a position that has notoriously had all conference or all American types?
Well, it's definitely something I look forward to, and personally, what I look for in that spot is the challenge. I feel like going through high school, positionally at guard, I felt like I wasn't challenged as much as I felt as I was at center. When you're in something and it's more fun, that's what I look for. And at center, I truly think that having those previous names and people in the position, I feel like it's going to be something that's more not physically but mentally going to be a big challenge that I'm truly going to want to surpass.
As always, we want to remind you all that if you're tuning in for the first time and you want to ask a question to Owen, go ahead, toss us a super chat, and we will turn your question over to Owen Hollenbeck himself. But Owen, explain, so you have an older sister that's at OU. Explain your family dynamic a little bit and how much the University of Oklahoma is kind of a unifying bond at this point for you guys.
Well, it's very big for my family because me and my sister have always been super close. Everything we've done is together. Everything we look forward to doing will be together. It's just that big family bond that my family has, is that we are what we have for each other, and that going forward we're always going to be together. And so OU really is just another step in our life, another opportunity to be together. So I'm looking forward to it personally.
You don't get to room with her, do you? Or be y'all don't get to stay in the same house or anything like that as far as your freshman year, right? You guys you have to live on campus in the dorms, correct? Right at Headington to start.
Yes, sir. We'll be in the Headington dorms.
Who is your roommate?
I'm gonna be rooming with Foji.
Nice.
There you go.
Yes, me and him have been looking forward to that. We've been talking about it for a while.
All right, there is a super chat, and Parker's going to have me read it. It's from Mongo. Owen, rumor has it that you're a bit of a gym rat. Can you please explain to Parker, in quotations, chicken legs, Thune, the importance of leg day?
Well, leg day is definitely really important, and you can't skip out on it. And shoot, I mean, I'm a fanatic when it comes to it. putting up numbers that I have and doing weight in certain lifts, it's definitely something that you can't skip out on, especially in the game of football. Without having a strong lower body, you can't play football well. You'll sustain more injuries. You won't be able to have the correct stamina, and so on. I mean, really, it's a big part of what most sports are.
Explain your powerlifting numbers to everybody.
And my squat was 710 pounds.
Holy.
I ended on bench at 515, and my deadlift was at 545.
Those are monster numbers, dude.
That will be moving bodies in the SEC. There is no question about it.
That's what I aim for.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. I'm good, man, but I don't even know where to go from there at that point.
And I feel like I got to ask you this. We're not going to get the chance to catch up with Darius Afalava for about another hour, and I don't think Foje's making an appearance tonight. But give us your perspective on the Michael Fasusi saga. Were you ever worried at any point before or after the commitment?
I don't think I've known him for quite a bit of time, and I know he likes to play like those games to get the numbers up and everything. I really feel like the moment he announced that he was committed to Oklahoma, I knew there and then he was going to be committed. All the doubt and the worry wasn't his doubt; it was everyone's doubt upon him. And I really think that he knew where he was going. He committed, and I think everyone else just wanted him to flip, or people of the non-Sooner Nation wanted him to be theirs when truly he's here home. He's at home with us.
You weren't worried at all when he was going to Texas or A&M or anything like that?
Nah, he was just having some fun right before he gets right to business. I mean, once we hit January, we're locked in, we're going, we're moving until the next season.
Are you going to be going into the bowl practices?
Say it again?
Will you be able to go through any of the bowl practices?
I actually don't know that yet because I know we're still trying to figure that out actually with Coach B.
Gotcha.
Because I know they're still learning about the new SEC rules, so they're trying to figure that out. I was just talking to them not too long ago about that.
So we talked about Fasusi. You mentioned you're going to be rooming with Ryan Foje. Real curious about your relationship with Darius Afalava because his recruitment was very different than yours, right? You were an early offer guy, early commit. Darius didn't get his OU offer until this past April. Things went very quickly. He committed to Oklahoma in June, but it seems like ever since he's been every bit as locked in as you and Foje and obviously Fasusi once he committed in August.
I could definitely say that Darius is a fanatic. He loves Oklahoma, I think, just as much as me and Foje do, and I know the offer came a little bit later than a lot of us, but I think once he got it, he was really excited to commit. And when I met him in person this season, I finally got to meet him. Dude, he's a great guy. He's a lot of like what Coach Venables and Coach Beatemo are preaching and are looking for. I really think that's just something like his process the coaches found, and they really pushed to have him join us.
All right, last question from me, and it's a super chat. It's from Les Wilson. Are you ready for the Schmitty workouts?
I've actually been looking forward to the Schmitty workouts since I met him. The moment I shook his hand and I felt that grip, I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to this. Because there's nothing like a good challenge in the weight room. Even if it's hard and you're out of breath, that's just think about it. It's making you better. There's nothing, you don't gotta like worry about it if it's gonna make you better in the end. Have fun with it, work out, get better, get stronger. Shoot, that's what it's all about.
Have you heard the stories about the trash cans at like every corner? And
I have heard and I have seen the trash cans. I went for a summer workout. I remember, it was spring workout, and so the new guys just finally came in, and some of the ones that were out of shape, Schmitty sent them to the stairs for like an hour and a half, or something like that. They were working that stairs for a while. It was fun.
Oh wow!
It was good to see, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
I tell you, I've never been able to squat 700 pounds in my life, but I realize I'm sitting here living somebody's dream, doing an interview while eating a Philly cheesesteak. I got a pretty good life, I think. You got a great one as well, and a great future at Oklahoma.
Your boy Elijah Thomas is calling you out in the chat, by the way.
What's
he
he
telling you
say?
to chill? You're just telling him to chill.
Oh, and okay. I'll throw one more question at you before we get you out of here.
Sounds good.
And that is this. It's a question that we've asked to pretty much everybody so far, whether pre-taped or live. I'm curious to hear your read on it. Oklahoma goes 6-6 this year, in year 3 under Coach Venables. And it alarms a lot of folks. Right? Not the season anybody wanted or expected in Norman. They get bowl eligible. They have an upset win over Alabama, sure, but a lot of bad mixed in with the good throughout this season for one reason or another. What gives you confidence, having been around this program as a commit for as long as you have, having built relationships with guys in that locker room, on this coaching staff, that what happened in 2024 is an aberration and is not going to set the tone for this program moving forward?
I think really what I think and what I believe in is my class of recruits. I mean, I've known these boys now for over a year and a half, and I think what we've built up in our relationship and in our goals is truly going to help bring to the table a set of standards that's going to up Oklahoma. And knowing that they went 6-6 this year, and I mean, we got hit hard with the injury plague and everything, but it's only something to come back from and to build off of. And I really think everything that we have prepared for and Oklahoma has prepared for, I think it's truly going to be a good next couple of years.
Do we have another question we need to throw at Owen?
No.
Go
Super
ahead.
chat. No more super chats?
No more super chat.
Okay, we're solid. Owen,
All good.
thanks so much for your time, man. We're excited to see what you do in an Oklahoma uniform, and certainly this fan base is going to be very eager to keep up with your exploits in the weight room in particular.
Grow the mullet, man.
Take care, Owen. We'll talk to you later.
You too. Have a good day.
Me too.
That's Owen Hollenbeck, 3-star offensive line commit from Melissa, Texas. Oklahoma breaks into Melissa High for the second straight year with the addition of Mr. Hollenbeck. Now, we do not have Elijah Thomas as a guest, no, to answer your question. Apparently he's in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
We do not have him as a guest. I suppose, like, if he wanted to jump on, we could certainly
wanna jump on,
accommodate that. We could move some stuff around, but our schedule is filling up as it is because we do have the 5-star himself, Michael Fasusi, joining us in just a little over 20 minutes. For now, though, our next guest is another guy I'm really, really excited to talk to, Brandon, because he's a fantastic interview. I've had the chance to watch him in person, speak to him in person on several occasions throughout the recruiting cycle. And Courtland Guillory is a truly special kid. And you understand when you talk to him, you get to know him, that he truly did commit to Oklahoma for the right reasons. He's not a guy that went 5 extra hours out of his way to play college football when he could have just gone to Austin and been a Longhorn. He's not a guy that did that on a whim or because he doesn't understand what's at stake for his career or because he's just bad at making business decisions. No, this kid is perfectly aligned with everything that Oklahoma is as a program and everything that they want to accomplish. He loves Brent Venables. He loves Jay Valai. He loves the University of Oklahoma, and he's locked in now as a member of this 2025 signing class. We go back once again to Brian Clinton for a look at the film on 4-star Oklahoma cornerback commit, Courtland Guillory. Take it away, Brian.
All right, Sooner Nation, let's take a look at Courtland Guillory, the 4-star corner out of Klein Oak High School in Spring, Texas. This is a big-time get for the Sooners. 6'2", 175, listed as the number 40 corner in the country, number 51 overall player in the state of Texas. And the first thing that jumps off the tape with Guillory is his physicality. He loves to bring the fight to the ball carrier, to a blocker. He is more than willing to attack the flats in the screen game. Shows time and time again that he's bringing the fight to a blocker, and he will come downhill in the run game and fit things well. Absolutely not scared of contact. Seems to thrive on it. And there is not necessarily a concern, but he is going to have to put on some significant weight at the next level if he's going to continue playing ball the way that he does right now. But that's all right. The mentality is there. That's what you want in a defender. And I would imagine Brent Venables is very excited about getting a guy like this to get on campus. Some of his film really reminds me of Michael Boganowski with just how how physical he is as a secondary defender. So really like where he's coming at from a physicality standpoint. He's also a twitchy athlete. You can see pretty good suddenness as a defender. He's got a good ability to pick up speed and get moving in the open field pretty quickly. Has great instincts. He's able to locate the ball well in the air. He attacks the ball at the high point. Wins lots of jump balls, is very aggressive, and so really got to like that. And then probably the biggest thing that sticks out is this is the definition of a football player. He's probably more of a football player than he is an athletic specimen, and that's not a knock on him whatsoever. I would actually bet that Brent Venables, this is probably the way that he would prefer a defender look coming out of high school. He's got a great frame, long arms and legs, and once he adds that muscle mass and starts to round out athletically, there are some major physical and mental tools there. And once he develops, he could turn into a real playmaker for the Sooners secondary. So this is a big get for Oklahoma. Gotta love what you see in Courtland Guillory, and excited to see what he can do as a member of the 2025 recruiting class at Oklahoma.
Well, while Brian was evaluating Courtland Guillory's film, I nearly died inhaling that Philly cheesesteak here at Sooner Daiquiri. But I survived. I've made it. Might have a couple more coughs left in me, but we're good. And now,
Food is baller, by the way.
the food is baller, folks. Get out here to Sooner Daiquiri on Main Street. It goes hard.
Yeah.
And has since the day it opened last year on signing day. We're here once again for the second straight year. And now we are joined by four-star Oklahoma commit Courtland Guillory. I keep saying commit, Brandon. I can't get away from it. These guys are signees now. Courtland Guillory has put pen to paper. He will be an Oklahoma Sooner. Man, thanks so much for making time for us. We really appreciate it. I guess to start things off with the very broad question that everybody's going to want your firsthand explanation for, Texas is so much closer to home for you. They were a school that really, really wanted you, really prioritized you. They offered you earlier than Oklahoma did. Despite all that, what convinced you when push came to shove that the University of Oklahoma was the place that you needed to be?
Yeah, so when I visited both schools, felt two totally different vibes from the coaches. I mean, Coach Venables was more of a, I can tell that it was a more genuine relationship, and he really wanted me to come to his program. And same with Coach Vallot. When I first met Coach Vallot, the guy told me, you're coming to the University of Oklahoma. And I thought he was joking. I talked to all his coaches during my recruiting process, but as time kept going and I kept going on visits with him to Oklahoma, he just got better and better and kept feeling more like family, And with Texas, I'm a Texas kid. It's closer to home. That would be a dream for a Texas kid, but Oklahoma, it just feels like home, and I feel like that's where God's telling me to go, and that's where I ultimately decided, and that's where I deserve to be. I feel like that's where I am meant to be.
You talked about Coach Vallot. Can you discuss your relationship and what that meant to you as far as not only committing but signing at Oklahoma?
Yeah, like I said, when I first met Coach Vallot, he stuck out more than any other DB coach that I talked to. He basically was telling me how he's going to get me to come to his university, how I'm going to visit the school, and how it's going to be nice and I'm going to love it. And it turned out to be just like that. When I first took my first visit, I fell in love with the people, with the university. It was different from the rest. I felt the instant connection. Me and my family felt like that. They set the bar when it came down to my recruiting process, and Coach Vallot did a great job with that. Me and Coach Vallot is more than just a football player relationship. It's like a family. I call him, he called me. We check up on each other. I know his wife, his kids, talk to his little son, Jackson, and it's a real bond. So, with him, it's different from any other of these coaches, and I feel a true connection with that.
Courtland, folks, is the District 15 6A Player of the Year, or Most Valuable Player. I can't remember what the official title of the award is, but this is your district MVP, one way or another. A guy that had a very strong senior season on both sides of the ball, played a little bit of quarterback, but obviously made his impact felt most notably on the defensive side of the ball, which is where he's going to play for Oklahoma, can play cornerback, can play safety. And this staff, Courtland, was over the moon to land your commitment. It happened at the spring game, so I take it was at the spring game that in your mind, you officially had that moment where you realized, all right, this is the place. What was that moment and what was it like?
Yeah, man. On the way to the spring game, you know, I feel like in my head, like this time, you know, they just gave me all the right reasons to commit. And, you know, during that time, I feel like like I said, they set the bar and no other school really came as close. So to me, they was a clear leader. So I had turned my chip in. Some of y'all may seen I turned my chip in to Coach Venables. And I mean, I definitely feel like Oklahoma is the place I'm meant to be, and like 100%.
Talk about just your overall game. People talk about your physicality and just how physical you like to press up on people, and you're just not very kind to wide receivers at all. Can you talk about what got you to be like that? Maybe a mentality. What set that mentality? Is that something you've always done, or is that something that's just kind of progressed as you've played the game year after year?
Yeah, I mean, it progressed. You know, I gotta give credit to my pops. You know, my sophomore year, I wasn't making as much noise. I was pretty under recruited. I had no offers, and you know, he was telling me like, I mean, you gotta turn on the switch. You gotta be a dog. So I preached that. He preached that dog mentality into me. And I mean, I took it on to the field my junior year. If you watch my junior year tape, you see it's like night and day from sophomore year. So, I mean, I feel like I got to carry a chip on my shoulder because still I feel, you know, I'm pretty underrated in the class. But, you know, I'm going to just take that as motivation.
We had a viewer earlier that dropped a $20 super chat and said Courtland Guillory might be starting by midseason next year. He's that good. And I think there are a lot of folks that are starting to come around to that reality after watching your senior tape. Man, and I would face the wrath of the fan base if I didn't ask about this. Oklahoma has a policy as far as taking other visits. You commit, they're like, hey, we really wouldn't like you to go anywhere else. You took a visit to Texas in October. And I don't know if you know this or not, but there's been a consistent theme throughout the entirety of the time that Brent Venables has been head coach at Oklahoma. If a guy visits another school while committed, in every single instance up until yours, he had wound up flipping to that school. Yep. But you went to Texas, you stayed committed to Oklahoma, you reaffirmed your commitment to Oklahoma. Why was that coming out of that Texas visit?
You know, when I took my visit to the University of Texas, I mean, it was cool. It was, like I said, I mean, I'm a Texas kid, so my reason to taking that visit, I mean, like, being closer to home, you know, that feeling, I mean, it's right up the street. And, I mean, I'm a Texas kid, like I said, so I took that visit. I took it into consideration, but, I mean, at halftime I left, you know, in my heart, I knew what I wanted to do. So I told the fans, told everybody, so I mean, like I said, I'm 100% locked in, and yeah.
Did you have any role as far as like trying to get another player to join the class with you, or maybe talk somebody out that maybe, you don't have to say the name, but like how hard was it to hold on to this whole class, being that Oklahoma went 6-6? Like, was there anybody that you were sitting here, you had to like talk him into and be like, hey man, everything's going to be okay. We're going to go in and we're going to be the ones that are going to change the trajectory of this program.
Yeah, you know, the Houston kid, Torrey Blaylock, you know, we both seeing what's going on. We both Texas kids, you know, so we seeing this, but I just feel like with the season that they had, it just gives us, the freshman class, the opportunity to, you know, showcase what we got and to come in and play early. You know, if you're a dog and you can really play, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to play on Saturdays with the big dogs.
To that point, I remember coming down to see you in October, late October, not too long after you had taken that visit to Texas, and everybody's wondering, oh no, are we going to lose Courtland Guillory here on the Oklahoma end? And we talked, did an interview, and of course after the fact, we're just chopping it up informally, and you brought up Eli Bowman. And at that time, he was just kind of starting to emerge as a real force in the secondary for Oklahoma as a true freshman. And seeing a guy like that do what he did this year, and how much more credence does that lend to your point there that, hey, it really doesn't matter. Seniority at Oklahoma, that dynamic doesn't exist. You show up and you prove that you're worthy of the snaps, you're going to get the snaps.
Exactly. You know, we see Eli Bowen. I mean, he's a true freshman. He's coming in, he's making plays. He's not the biggest guy, not the tallest guy, but he's coming in on Saturday. He's doing what he got to do. He's making plays early. You know, I see this. I'm watching back. You know, I'm going to be a true freshman, and I feel like, you know, seeing that, why can't I do that? So that just gives me the motivation and put in the extra hard work, like, for me to be a true freshman and do that next season.
We got a super chat. Mongo wanted to ask you, Courtland, if you have 10 reps, one-on-one for Sean Burks, how many of those are you winning?
Yeah, so with that, he's a little fast guy, little twitchy guy, so, you know, I got to get some hands on that guy. So 10 reps, I'm winning 7.
Ooh, wow.
That's a confident character right
confidence.
there.
Confidence. You got to have that in the SEC.
Yeah, got to have it. Man, and I tell you, I can't recall who it was I was having this conversation with a while back, but you know, the reality of playing the cornerback position is you just got to be fearless. You got to trust your technique. You got to trust your instinct. And that's what's made Eli Bowen so impressive so early for Oklahoma, and that's certainly what a guy like Courtland, what a guy like Maliek Hawkins, what a guy like Tristan Haynes is going to have to show early on if they want to crack the rotation as freshmen at Oklahoma, which is certainly on the table for all of those guys. But I bring up Maliek Hawkins and Tristan Haynes, Courtland, and I could throw Marcus Wimberly and Omarion Robinson into this same conversation. We talked to Omarion earlier, but how much of a bond is there between you guys that are now signed to be the next generation of secondary pieces at the University of Oklahoma?
Yeah, you know, the bond is there, you know, with those guys. We know what we got to do coming in, you know. We know we have to get right to it and get to work, learn off the older guys, you know. But us as young guys, we know we got to, like I said, get to work. And we going to work with each other and help each other get better. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see what we can do.
As far as just other Houston guys, maybe in the 26 class that you know, is there anybody that you've kind of pinpointed that you're going to try to sway to follow you to Oklahoma in the following class? That you think could come in and just like really help?
Man, one kid, Jermaine Bishop, you know, out of Willis, you know, that guy, I've been playing with that guy since we've been playing football together since about 9 years old. So we go way back. So he a Texas kid from Willis, you know, he electric on both sides of the ball, class of 2026. You know, I mean, I feel like that kid could be, wherever he go, he would be a immediate impact.
I want to ask about Brent Venables. And, you know, it feels kind of cliche, kind of basic to be asking about the head ball coach. But with everything that's happened in the 2024 season, it feels like his leadership has certainly fallen into question among some folks. And there's a lot of fingers being pointed for the season that Oklahoma had. But just having developed the relationship that you have developed at this point with Coach Venables, what can you say about the type of figurehead that he is for the Oklahoma football program, and what gives you confidence that he's the right man to orchestrate this turnaround in Oklahoma?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we seen the game against Bama, you know. Just you gotta have faith. I mean, we beat the number 7 ranked team in the country. I mean, a lot of people didn't have faith. A lot of people said we wouldn't get it done, but I mean, the defense played a heck of a game. One thing I can say about Coach Venables, you know, his defense is always balling out, and he's a great defensive-minded coach. You know, I just feel like the fan, we gotta just have faith. You know, it was our first season in the SEC. We had a couple guys, a lot of guys out at receiver. We had some guys out. I mean, that hurts the team. So with those guys back, with some new guys added, new pieces added, it'll be a whole new team.
Zach Alley is the defensive coordinator for you guys now that you're at Oklahoma, you're a signee. What's your relationship like with him, and how much did he play into your recruitment?
Yeah, Coach Zach Alley is a great guy. He played I mean, I gotta give credit to Coach Afalava right here. I mean, Coach Afalava did his thing when he recruited me. I've talked to Coach Zach Alley multiple times though, and talked about how he can implement me into the defense and what they can do for me. So, which I'm excited about. So, it's a good bond.
You gonna try to get any offensive snaps when you get to OU?
Man, I mean,
lobby for
I know
him?
they seen the film. I mean, I gotta give myself credit. A lot of guys are not moving the way that I'm moving with the ball in my hand. So, I mean, hopefully we can figure something out. I mean, kick return, punt return, I mean, something so I can get the ball in my hand.
Hey, who are you rooming with at Oklahoma? That's a question everybody wants to know from all of you guys.
I honestly do not know yet.
Really?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know.
Most cornerbacks, you're confident. You already said you would beat, obviously, Deion Burke 7 out of 10 times. But most cornerbacks are just elite smack talkers. What's your level of smack talk on the field? Are you one of those guys that likes to get into the wide receiver's head, or are you just one of those quiet types that likes to get physical and just leave it alone? Let your play talk for you.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm sorry. My little sister trying to tell me to take out the trash, but yeah, when it comes down to smack talk, I mean, yeah, it's
Only a few weeks till you don't got to worry about that anymore.
Couple more weeks, and I don't have to worry about that. Dad got that. So, but yeah, like you said, when it come down to smack talk, I mean, you see my film, yeah, I get a little reckless sometimes. So my trash talk 10 out of 10. If I make a play, best believe like getting talked to, because like you getting talked to, you gonna hear me for sure.
So you are enrolling early. Are you going to go through bowl practices? Do you know yet?
That I don't know. If that is, I honestly don't think so. I know I move in January 11th.
All right, we got Robert, I'm going to say Alexin asked a super chat. They actually just gave a super chat and they didn't put the question in there, but they asked one below it. How do you think it's going to feel when you line up, look over and see guys like Quinn Ewers, Garrett Nussmeier, Ryan Williams lined up on the other side? Guys that you see on TV so far, that has to be wild for you.
Yeah, it's not wild though, because I mean, they regular guys, you know. All I gotta do, I mean, it's football at the end of the day, you know. I don't see no difference between them and me. You know, I'm gonna go out and play my game, stay technically sound, and I'm gonna play my best ball whoever I'm guarding. It don't matter.
Last thing for you, Courtland, and then we'll cut you loose and you can go take out the trash. What's got you most excited to get to Oklahoma and be part of this great football tradition?
I mean, all of it. I mean, I gotta give credit to the whole staff. I mean, like I said, it's like a family. When I leave my parents, you know, I still feel like I'm at home. I mean, the atmosphere is great when it comes down to the game time, and the fans are great. Everything. I mean, I love it. I love the university, and I'm glad that this is the university that I decided to commit to.
Courtland Guillory, 4-star cornerback commit from Klein Oak High School down in the Houston area. Man, always great to catch up with you. Always appreciate your insights, transparency. We're all really excited to see what you do in a Sooner uniform over the next few years. Congratulations on signing, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
No, thank you, man.
That is Courtland Guillory. Man, he's one of my favorite interviews in the entire class. And he's a guy that doesn't put himself out there as much as some of the other guys that are super, super active on social media. But when you get to talking with Courtland Guillory, man, really clear that he's just got a unique perspective on things, and he can communicate it very effectively. One of those guys that you wouldn't be shocked if he's a coach one day once his playing career is over.
Yeah, he's you can tell he's just got this like aura about him, like the confidence about him that he's gonna have amnesia. He gets burnt. He's gonna still be talking to you. He has confidence that he's gonna win more battles than you're gonna win, and at the end of the day, he's gonna own you on that field. And I think that's what you have to be as far as a cornerback goes. I think all elite cornerbacks have that confidence. They have that amnesia. And they have that smack talk ability that like nobody else has on the field. It is just unbelievable. Wide receivers and cornerbacks have to be the most egotistical people on the field, maybe outside of a quarterback and a middle linebacker, I'd assume, probably at the NFL level. But there's only a select few guys that really, really have that type of smack talk and have that type of aura and confidence, and he projects it really well, but he projects it very with some maturation to it as well. You don't see it's like immaturity in it. Like, he's doing it to win a ball game, and that's it. Michael Fasusi says give us 2 minutes and he'll be ready to rock. So
okay, well, in that event, in the event that we still have to wait a little while for Michael Fasusi, we can turn things over once again to Brian Clinton. We didn't run the Courtland Guillory field vision piece yet, did we? Or did we? Oh, we did. Dang it. My brain is running in loops.
No, you're good.
So we already broke down the film on Courtland Guillory. That's right. We're waiting on Michael Fasusi. We will have him on shortly. He, of course, is, I mean, I hate to call anybody the guest of honor because everybody is a guest of honor this evening on the OU Insider Signing Day special, but as the lone 5-star in the class, is a guy that everybody was sitting with fingers crossed regarding this afternoon, long past 2 p.m. when we finally learned that he had signed with Oklahoma. It was really remarkable when you looked at the setup at his signing day ceremony because it was just a bunch of OU stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost as if he was sending a message to everybody, like, why would you even question that I was signing with Oklahoma today?
Well,
obviously there were reasons, but
yeah. I mean, look, here's the deal. Like, I think I'll say it like this. Like, the night before, it was up and down. There was some, and I don't think Oklahoma ever lost confidence that they were going to sign him, but I think there was hesitation, some cautious optimism because Texas A&M, like, everybody was trying to make a push late. Though everything kind of flipped this morning. Brent Venables had a conversation with him late last night, and it felt like when I talked to the similar sources, this morning, it was, hey, everything's good to go. Got a pretty good feeling he's going to sign with Oklahoma. That's why you didn't see a lot of freak out from the media or anything like that. So it really didn't look like there was nothing to it, but there was.
I think my brain is still somewhat oxygen deficient after I almost choked on that cheesesteak earlier, but we do have field vision analysis from Brian Clinton on Michael Fasusi himself. So as we await Fasusi's arrival here, let's hear from Brian on what stands out on tape about the Sooners' highest rated signee, period.
What is up, Sooner Nation? Brian Clinton here, OU Insider, and we are taking a look at another one of the Oklahoma 2025 commits. A big one here, Michael Fasusi, the 5-star offensive tackle out of Louisville High School in Louisville, Texas. Simply put, this is the crown jewel of Oklahoma's 2025 class. Fasusi comes in listed at 6'6", 290 pounds. Very, very well put together at that weight. Comes into the college game with minimal bad weight, so very well put together at 290 pounds. There are just some guys who are born to play left tackle, and Michael Fasusi is one of those guys. He is incredibly gifted at his size, light-footed, and moves very well laterally. You see this throughout his film, regularly finishing blocks to the ground, very aggressive mindset, has a rather unorthodox stance, kind of sits tall in his chair, but it's not something that causes him issues, obviously. Is a guy that is willing and ready to make a play and goes the extra mile to do so. He's got a very strong wide base and pass pro, operates well out of that. Doesn't overextend himself too much from what I've seen in film there. So, that's a really great trait for somebody that's playing high level football in the state of Texas. On top of that, his length and bend there at the tackle position makes him an absolute nightmare to try and speed rush to the outside. He has great leverage, great use of his long arms and great wingspan, and he is pretty stinking tough to get around in the corner. So that's going to play well at the next level. Some things that I've noticed is obviously hand placement is going to be something that he just gets better with over time. Obviously, with Bill Bedenbaugh being such a technician, and the way that he helps develop guys in that regard, I believe he'll be a quick learner there, a quick study, and will be a guy that's helping Oklahoma pretty quickly. Whether it just be a depth piece at first, but eventually will be a big time anchor for Oklahoma's offensive line on the outside. A good comp. I've seen this in a couple of different places, and the more that I see it, the more I agree with it. Wanya Morris, former Tennessee transfer to Oklahoma, and then obviously was drafted by the Chiefs. Coming out of high school, both guys tall, long, excellent wingspan, no bad weight whatsoever, has a very projectable frame, good quickness, and his athleticism looks like it should definitely translate at the next level. I think all of those things make Wanya Morris a great comp for Michael Fasusi here. This is a big one, guys. Getting a guy of this caliber is a huge get for the Sooners. Obviously, had to hold off Texas and Texas A&M in the end to get him, but it is one that you definitely should celebrate should you be a Sooner fan, and one that you guys will definitely be seeing a lot of in the near future.
He's the number 12 overall player in the nation. We talked to Kenny Matthews earlier. He said in 14 years in the business, he's never seen an offensive tackle with feet this good, which you understand if you understand Michael Fasusi's background in soccer. But he is signed today to play football, American football, at the University of Oklahoma, and he is the highest rated signee of them all for the Sooners. He joins us now, the number 12 player in the nation, number 2 offensive tackle in the country. It is Michael Fasusi. And Mike, thanks so much for being willing to take a few minutes tonight. Obviously, another climactic day for you. You committed it in August, but there were still plenty of people that were a little bit unsure going into today as to whether Texas or Texas A&M was going to be able to change your mind. They didn't. Why?
Just 2 words, man. Believe and trust, man. I believe in OU, and I trust in the coaches.
You talk about the belief, you talk about the trust. During that whole process of the offensive coordinator, how did that conversation piece go with Coach Bedenbaugh and Coach Venables as far as them telling you, like, hey, Coach, we're all going to be around, like, nothing's going to change for you? Was it hard for you to stay trusting in that, knowing just how fluid the coaching world is in college football?
Yeah, man, going more into this world, I heard a lot. Sometimes I was in a good place, and next thing I know, somebody comes out of nowhere giving me, another type of fact that I don't want to hear. But so far as that, man, I just kind of kept the main thing with the coaches, I didn't have a hard time trusting Coach B and Coach Venables when they told me that everything was going to be good and everything was going to be set for me and for the offensive coordinator. I trusted that. Me and my family trusted that, and we just kept leading with that.
We got a super chat question for you, Michael. Kason Holsey asks, now that you're signed, can you show us what direction horns go?
Yeah, I got something for y'all, though. It's a little celebration. It's a little
Oh, there it is.
Come on.
That's pretty awesome. We got another one for you, Les Wilson. I love this class. O-line class is outstanding. What do you need to work on to prepare yourself to start for the Sooners and dominate in the SEC? Boomer.
Well, my development, again, has always been number 1 in my mind. So, of course, my answer to that is I'm just going to say everything, man. I'm going into a new system that, luckily has everything provided for me, but at the same time, I need to get adjusted. So, I've had pretty easy time, working on the drills. I've been talking to Coach B, me and him been, he's been sending me great drills to work, when I get there. So, again, just getting ready early for everything. I know what I'm going into. So, it's time to work, man.
In your experiences with Coach Beatonbow, obviously everybody knows his track record, his resume, how many guys he has put in the NFL, which you cited as a major factor in your original decision. But what can you say about Bill Beatonbow, the person, as you've come to know him throughout this process?
Number one, just as a person, man, Coach B is somebody that I completely trust. I see him as a mentor. I see him as somebody that is going to develop me as, to be the best offensive tackle in the nation and to be a great person as well. Something I said in Oklahoma, too. And I guess that's was kind of what kept my instinct high this whole time about him, throughout this whole recruitment, man. It's basically almost called me every day for real. He showed me and my family nothing but love, every time I'm up there, every time I'm not. And, even when I tell him I'm going on these crazy visits, he say, go take him. And I take him, come back to him, and, I see that. I think, I believe he's the right guy for me.
What during those visits, was Oklahoma okay with those? Because a lot of times they are, but with you, I figured it'd be different. The circumstance, the offensive coordinator, there wasn't a lot of leg for them to stand on as far as that goes, because naturally, when you don't have an offensive coordinator, there's a lot of things that are in flux staff-wise for them. Were they pretty okay with it? Like you said, they told you to go take it, but were they generally okay? Was there sometimes some debate on whether you should or shouldn't be taking these type of things?
No, man. There wasn't really any debate. Coach. The only thing Coach V really, asked me was, "Can I trust you?" And I said, "Yeah, Coach, you can trust me." And at the end, I can't lie, it did get hard sometimes, but again, going back to that word trust, man. So, that did it for me.
Super chat question from Mongo. Mike, are you a FIFA fan?
Am I what?
FIFA.
A FIFA fan? Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. He wants to know what club you support.
Man, I gotta say Chelsea, man.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite player?
I gotta say Chelsea. My favorite player? My favorite player used to be Cesc Fabregas. Ever since then, I haven't really had anybody. It's been him.
Got another
he
one
played
there,
midfield. He played midfield for Chelsea.
I got you. All right, Blake Dixon. Thoughts on what was your thought process? This is a fan asking. To go take the Texas visit instead of the Alabama visit when Oklahoma was hosting? What went into that process?
I guess, Texas really, got into me and, got into my space. And, I said, why not just take the visit? Let's go to a game. So that was really what it was for me. I'm going to a game. Me and my family going to a game. One of my last recruits as a visit. Yeah. Went up there, had a great time. Came back to the crib.
During that time, were you looking at your phone, watching it, it just almost in amazement what was going on in Norman? Was there any oh dang man, I wish I would have been in Oklahoma at that time?
So for the game, man, I watched the whole game. Me and my family watched the whole game when we were coming back from Texas right after the game. So I was in the car, man, going crazy. My dad looking. He asked me, what's the score? My sister was in the backseat just, cheering, So, yeah, it was great to see the win. For the regret, I can say, I guess I regret it, And that's one of the biggest, that probably would be one of the biggest games as a recruit that I've ever been to, but coming down to no regrets, man. Going to Texas too, I saw the OL do a lot of great stuff. I learned a lot. I saw a lot of great technique. And watching guys like the right tackle over there, Cam. Watching him doing this thing, it was great, man.
Well, the process is over now, and I know it's been a lengthy process. I know it's been an exhausting process, but now that it's over, before we let you go here, what's the thing that's got you most excited to be a part of the OU football family starting next year?
Playing some football, man. Playing some football, going in there with my brothers, and having fun.
Yeah.
Academics too, man. Keeping that first. Absolutely.
That is the 5-star, Michael Fasusi, the number 12 player in the nation, number 2 offensive tackle, and Bill Bedenbaugh's highest-rated signee ever in his entire coaching career. You're a special man, Mike, special talent. We're excited to watch you over the next few years and to cover you over the next few years in an Oklahoma uniform. Thanks so much for stopping by. We wish you all the best.
Appreciate you,
Absolutely.
my guy.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you.
That's Michael Fasusi. And as we get rolling here, we are 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. You've heard from Fasusi. We got a couple other guys that are really, really exciting interviews to hear from. Marcus Wimberly, we're going to hear from him later on. We'll talk to Darius Afalava, such a colorful character. First and foremost, though, and by the way, I neglected to mention, we will also introduce you for the very first time to Jett Niu.
Yeah.
The brand new Oklahoma commit, signee. There I go again. Brand new Oklahoma signee, the most surprising member of this class for the Sooners after just picking up his offer yesterday. We'll hear from him in just a bit. But first, Maliek Hawkins, the 4-star cornerback from Frisco, Texas. I sat down with him last night to discuss everything that excites him about being a Sooner and following in the footsteps of his father and brother. Here is 4-star cornerback commit, well, now signee, Maliek Hawkins. Familiar name and a familiar face. There's a definite similarity there to his older brother Michael, whom Oklahoma fans, of course, know as a freshman quarterback that made 3 starts for the Sooners in the 2024 season. Maliek is following in his dad's and his brother's footsteps. He will wear the Crimson and Cream next season as a member of this 2025 class. Maliek, thanks so much for your time, first and foremost. Always enjoy catching up with you, man. And I guess the natural place to start is there are those that are aware of what your dad did in an OU uniform. There are those who are very aware and obviously very recently aware of your brother and the unprecedented things that he did, being the first true freshman quarterback to start against Texas earlier this season. But for you, where does the genesis of your relationship with this OU staff and Coach Valai begin?
I can remember like the first ever college visits were at the University of Oklahoma, and yeah, it started like it's just me just tagging along with my brother. You know, I was getting recruited from other schools, like especially like schools in Texas, but then my sophomore year is when it really hit, and then I started to get locked in with Coach Valai, and then some other coaches, yeah.
So your brother kind of went his own route. Your dad played cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother tried out quarterback and just kind of stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, you're playing the same position that your dad once played. How helpful has it been growing up, developmentally in particular, to have somebody right there in the house with you that can teach you all of the finer points of the technique that's required to play defensive back at a high level?
Yeah, like you just said, I grew up around like in a football family, so not even just me being on the defensive side of the ball, but always helping my brother with the quarterback, like stuff he needs to read and stuff he needs to work on. Like I can understand what a quarterback is trying to do to me and do to a defense, so it definitely helps.
Now, as we kind of go back to the beginning stages of your recruitment, what were some of the early things that stood out to you about Coach Valai and just the way that he pursued you and built that relationship with you?
Well, he didn't sugarcoat anything. You know, there's a lot of two-faced people in recruiting. There's people that put a recruiting face on instead of like just being themselves, which I really appreciate from him. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he's real. He's a real person. He's not just a coach.
Now, your brother committed to Oklahoma back in April of 2023. It was around a year later that you committed to Oklahoma in April of 2024. And so I think there were many that figured, and understandably so, okay, you get one brother, of course you're getting both. But for you, what was the process like, just kind of navigating the offers at your disposal and all of your options independently from everything your brother had seen and experienced and been through?
Yeah, I was definitely feeling like I should go to school with my brother, but at the end of the day, we all sat down and talked about it. It's me. Like nobody's gonna be putting the pads on like besides me and my brother, but it's still me at the end of the day. I have to hold my own weight. So yeah.
Now, to that point, there was a time, and I guess it wasn't all that long ago, about a year ago, you were really feeling the University of Texas. And for a while there, that looked to be the school that was best positioned to eventually land your commitment. Um, what was that process like growing close with Coach Sarkisian and his staff and having to reckon with the possibility that you and your brother might be playing on opposite ends of the Red River Showdown one day?
Yeah. Um, like I said, I was just really trying to figure out where I belong. I wasn't worried about like anybody else because it was my time to really lock in and realize where I need to be and what type of coaches I need to have around me. And yeah, just OU coaches definitely better.
So, kind of riffing off of that, at what point did you know, okay, this is where I need to be? I need to go to Oklahoma, not for my dad's sake, not for my older brother's sake, but for my sake. This is the best place for me. When did that kind of that realization hit you?
Um, practice. I went to practice in the spring. Yeah, what was it? Somewhere around there, yeah. I went to a practice and the way like the way Coach Valai was coaching the corners, Coach Hall was coaching the safeties, I was feeling like man, I could probably do this. And it didn't feel comfortable, but it felt like it just made me want to go do it. So why not?
So there's been some conversations about Cheetah. Obviously, there's been some conversations about safety. There's been some conversations about cornerback. That's going to conjure up memories of a guy that I know you grew close with throughout the recruiting process in Woody, Washington. So whether it's him
Yeah.
or anybody else that's currently on the roster at Oklahoma, as you take stock of what you've seen so far in these 3 seasons that this defensive staff has been on the scene in Norman. Do you feel like there's any one particular player that you're going to kind of model your game and your career arc after, or is this just a case of, hey, I'm going to take something here, I'm going to take something there, take what I can from my circle of influence, but ultimately I'm gonna be my own guy?
Yeah, I feel like it would be wrong for me to try to do my own thing when I have um, a lot of hands on me and a lot of smart minds and smart people around me that could just help me. I'm definitely going to be like taking something from everybody.
What's been the biggest focus for you from a developmental standpoint ever since you committed to Oklahoma, and just mindful of the fact that you're going to step into a situation come January where you're going to have Coach Valai in your ear, coaching you, getting you better? What do you feel like is an area of your game that you've made a concerted effort to grow in these last few months as you prepare for the next challenge?
Um, I've definitely been working on just understanding. I already understand the game, but really understanding like and being able to not predict but expect what the offense is going to like trying to do at certain points of the game because there's certain times where you pass, run, um, yeah, things like that. I've definitely been trying to get more on the playbook side because everyone can play at the next level, but my mind is definitely going to separate me.
Now I'm going to ask you to be candid here. OU is coming off well, I guess not coming off. There's still a bowl game left to play, but they went 6-6 in 2024. Didn't really live up to the expectations that were placed for them nationally. Certainly not up to the expectations that anybody in the building had for that team. But just knowing what you know about the guys in that locker room and this coaching staff, what gives you confidence as somebody that's about to step into the fire for the first time? That there are better days ahead for this program, and that the same standard that has remained at Oklahoma for decades and decades previously is going to be met once again during your time there?
Like Coach Venables says a lot. He says keep the main thing, and which is winning. So that's definitely the main goal. Uh, Selfishness and things like that. That's definitely gonna be out of the picture. Definitely gonna be focused on winning.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the other guys in this class alongside you. Two other cornerbacks committed: Tristan Haynes, Courtland Guillory, a couple safeties, Marcus Wimberly, Omarion Robinson, and then obviously a legion of guys at other positions that are all poised to step in and do what they can to make this team better as true freshmen. As you've had the chance to get to know these guys throughout the recruiting process, take visits together, just build that camaraderie as a unit. What's stood out to you about this group? What do people need to know about this group, this 2025 class at Oklahoma?
Um, Shoot, a lot of other programs I can't speak for, but I know that we definitely are different by the way that we um the way that we are around each other. It's like we've been known each other for a long time. We feel like brothers and actual friends. It's not just, oh yeah, we're going to the same college. I guess we gotta be cool or whatever.
So, who's the funniest guy in the group? Who's a comedian?
Honestly, it might be me, honestly.
Really? You're gonna claim that one, huh?
Yeah.
Who's the most outspoken? Who's talking the most in the group chat?
Mm. Me or Elijah Thomas.
ET, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Many have cited him as a real linchpin for this class. You feel that
Yeah.
just the way that
For
he's gone about
sure.
things with the rest of y'all?
For sure.
Man, who's one guy that you're really, really excited to watch suit up at the next level that maybe people don't understand just how good he is?
Um, I say ET, Elijah Thomas,
Yeah.
or Shield Knight.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wagner's finest,
Uh-huh.
Alex Shield Knight. Yeah. Man,
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to that Alabama game because such a climactic moment for this program. In the midst of a tumultuous season, like we said, 6-6, not necessarily commensurate with expectations, but to have a moment like that and to have a night like that where Oklahoma just puts it on an elite opponent. As somebody that is getting ready to be a part of everything that Coach Venables and his staff are doing here, what does a game like that do for your level of confidence that can become a weekly occurrence at Oklahoma? Not just something that happens once a season, but the type of dominance that you can come to expect from Oklahoma football every single week.
Well, it showed me as an individual, it showed me that the team can click and play together. Um, Everybody can do their job, especially as a defense, holding Alabama, which is everybody knows them as one of the top schools or best schools or whatever. But holding them to a field goal the whole game, that's different.
Everybody wants to know the answer to this question on signing day, only on signing day. It's a very popular question on this specific day. You know who your roommate's going to be at Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Elijah Thomas.
Wow. So you get to room with ET. Boy,
Yeah.
that'll be a fun suite. Man, what's got you most excited to jump into OU football in January and just be a part of everything that's going on up there?
Well, I feel like this season I wasn't able to showcase who I really am because just the situation I was in with like the certain type of defense we ran and things like that. But I feel like me being able to practice, I can be me and play like me when I get there and really show the coaches why they need me and why I should be on the field.
Okay, last question. Who's faster, you or your brother?
Ah, I would say you have to see, but I ain't gonna lie, my brother is a little faster than me.
Really? Okay, so you're
Yeah.
gonna tip your cap. Maybe we need to make that part of the spring game festivities.
Oh,
40-yard dash between the Hawkins bros for supremacy in the household.
Well, we should do that. We should definitely do that.
There you go. Maliek Hawkins, 4-star cornerback commit out of Frisco, Texas, set to join the Sooners in January as an early enrollee. Actually, set to join the Sooners in December because you're going to take part in bowl prep, right?
Yep.
Okay. What do you hope to learn out of that experience?
Everything that they say, I'm gonna pick it up, sponge it up, especially from the other players.
There you go. Maliek, man, thanks so much for your time. Congrats on officially becoming a Sooner, and best of luck during bowl season.
Thank you.
Really felt like we needed foundationally to have a freshman quarterback in the room, and we were able to get Jett Niu from Lehigh, Utah, a really successful program, a really skilled, developed quarterback. He's got a great frame. We'll continue to put on some weight to it, but his mechanics and his fundamentals are exceptional. The way he climbs the pocket, his accuracy, his ability to push the ball down the field, his instincts, incredible quickness and his release, and great field vision, leadership qualities, really good football player. And we were really fortunate to be able to get him, just a polished quarterback, and he's a winner. Comes from an excellent program.
Brent Venables obviously thinks very highly of the surprise addition to this 2025 class for Oklahoma, that being 3-star Lehigh, Utah quarterback Jett Niu. The senior tape is really, really impressive, Brandon. And with a look at that senior tape, here once again is our man Brian Clinton with Field Vision.
Well, Ben Arbuckle is 1 for 1, and the Oklahoma Sooners have successfully flipped a quarterback prospect from their in-state rival, as the Sooners signed Jett Niu out of Lehigh High School in Utah. He's listed as a 3-star prospect, listed at 6'2", 185 pounds. He's got a good projectable frame. He's going to need to add some pretty significant weight during his first couple of off seasons in Norman, but he's a better than expected athlete whenever I got to take a look at the film. He doesn't have great speed, but he has enough to move around and be mobile in the pocket, and he's got plenty of speed to pick up yardage when it's available in front of him. So not a statue back there. Definitely a better than expected athlete. His arm is very promising. To be completely honest, he was relatively unknown to me in the national picture, but he's got a live arm. Shows the ability to fit the ball into tight windows and whenever he needs to. He regularly is making accurate throws on the move and shows the ability to make throws at all levels of the field. So I was really impressed with his touch. He has a really good understanding and ability to layer the football between defenders at different levels of the field. So really promising there. And then the last thing that I noticed about him is he's got good pocket presence. He exhibits a really good feel for the internal clock. That's really important at his position, and he appears to have a pretty good understanding of the concepts he's running. So, you see that time and again as he's working through his progressions in a pretty timely manner. So really like that. This isn't a guy that's going to be an immediate contributor for Oklahoma. That's obviously the expectation is that he's going to take a little time to develop, but if given that time, Niu is a guy that can develop into a good or maybe even great quarterback if he's given the amount of time he needs. Still, a big pickup. It's always great to get a quarterback in a class, and it appears Oklahoma has theirs in the class of 2025.
What a late pickup for Oklahoma in this 2025 cycle. They didn't have a quarterback after Kevin Sperry backed off his pledge, and the thought was, okay, maybe Oklahoma will just forego taking a quarterback in the 2025 cycle. But as we heard Brent Venables say earlier, they ultimately came to the decision that we need a freshman quarterback. We need to take somebody in the 2025 cycle, and the guy that worked his way onto both Venables and Ben Arbuckle's radar was Jett Niu. Yep. And we welcome him to the show now. For the very first time, Sooner fans everywhere are getting to meet Jett Niu now. I guarantee you, 95% of them did not know his name before yesterday, and those that did knew him because he was committed to the rival Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Now here we are. He is signed to the University of Oklahoma. Jett, I know we were just talking off air about it a little bit, but if you could take us through from your perspective how this whole whirlwind ordeal happened and how you came to commit to the University of Oklahoma, sign with the University of Oklahoma today, having never visited campus before.
I mean, it was definitely all the same thing like you said, a whirlwind. I mean, it happened all in a blink of an eye, and one thing kind of happened after another, and now here I am today, signing to the University of Oklahoma, and I mean, I'm super excited. I mean, I'm really fortunate for this, and I mean, I wouldn't really be here without God, and I mean, I just know that He has a plan for me, and I'm super excited.
Talk about your fellow Lehigh, Utah, OU signee, Darius Afalava, and what he meant to this process for you, and just kind of explain to us a little bit what you, or explain to the people what you explained to us off the air, and how, you know, he was kind of the first person to, I guess, test the waters with you a little bit, even though you were committed to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, so it was Friday night. I was just chilling. I was actually in St. George, Southern Utah, St. George area, and I was chilling with my family for Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden I looked at my phone and I got an Instagram notification, and it was Darius Afalava, and he goes and he was like, "Yo, what's up, Jett?" And I was like, "What's up?" And he asked me if my recruitment was still open, and I was like, I kind of looked at my mom, and I was kind of like, Darius just asked if my recruitment was open. And I mean, that's kind of weird. And I was like, I mean, I'm still committed to Oklahoma State. Why? What's up? And he kind of said, yeah, like my coaches over here love you, and they wanted me to reach out, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll give you my number if they want to reach out to me and kind of get a little, conversation going. And later on, it was Monday. It was Monday evening. And Coach V, he called me and kind of told me what the situation was, and yeah.
Did he tell you that Coach Arbuckle Monday was going to be the OC?
No, he actually didn't. He was. I saw on Twitter that it was between like Utah and Oklahoma or something, and then it was as soon as Coach Arbuckle got the offensive coordinator job, it was like around 8 o'clock at night. Coach Venables called me, and that's when he kind of explained everything.
So you had a pre-existing relationship with Coach Arbuckle, dating back to his time at Washington State. Now, for those unfamiliar with your recruiting process, you were committed to Appalachian State for quite a while, flipped to Oklahoma State at the beginning of September, and for all intents and purposes, I mean, you were supposed to be signing with the Cowboys today. But take us behind the scenes a little bit as to how that pre-existing relationship with Coach Arbuckle and just the person and coach he is played into your decision to go ahead and sign with OU.
Yeah, he was definitely a huge part. Early on in my recruiting process, he offered me, and I mean, we gained ongoing relationship, and he came out and watched me, and we really got to know each other. I went out there a couple visits, and we really hit it off. And I mean, I just love everything about what he does, and kind of like how he explained to me, he lets his quarterbacks really take control of the offense, and which I love. And I mean, he's an outstanding coach, and I mean, I've gained a really great relationship with him. And he unfortunately, he had a quarterback commit before I ended up committing. And I mean, now we're in the full cycle. He's at Oklahoma now, and ended up hitting me up too. And now I'm over here as well. And I mean, it's just kind of crazy how it all fell into place.
So talk about that, like you had a relationship with him previously, but what was the difference between Oklahoma State and Washington State? Like, what did you like between those two, and what made you just decide, you know what, I'm just going to go flip to Oklahoma, sight unseen, I'm going to OU?
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State has great coaches over there. They're doing their thing over there, and but one thing that kind of sold me was Coach Arbuckle, and kind of how he develops his quarterbacks. I mean, we've seen Cam Ward, one of his guys, and now he's over at Miami and a Heisman finalist, and it just shows you how he can really develop a quarterback and, I mean, get him to that next level. And I mean, I just love everything about it. And I mean, I haven't been on campus yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And especially, I mean, I haven't seen it, but Coach Venables really gave me a vision, you could say. And then, I mean, after that, I kind of just saw the vision and decided that I needed to take the opportunity to run with it.
Is there any particular quarterback that you model your game after, or maybe a group of guys that you've watched over the years that you really have kind of tried to model certain aspects of your play after?
Yeah, one of them I like to say is Marcus Mariota. I mean, he was a Polynesian quarterback, and I mean, he's done pretty well in his NFL career and his college career as well. And of course, Patrick Mahomes, his ability to keep his eyes down the field and surveying the field and reading defenses and exploiting defenses. And I mean, another one I would say is Tom Brady. I mean, he really is a general on the field. I mean, same thing. He exploits defense. He takes what they give him, and he's just a winner overall. And I mean, he was always an underrated kid, and I feel like that's how I am. I'm an underrated kid, and that's why I want to show the University of Oklahoma who I really am, and that I can compete with everyone else.
You're a quarterback naturally, so offensively, like, what is your favorite scheme? Is it spread? Is it pro style? Like, what do you think fits your skill set the best, and why?
Yeah, so right now at my high school, we actually run a spread offense. We run 11 personnel, and I just think the spread offense fits me pretty well. I like to throw the ball down the field and get my guys the ball, and really just be a general on the field. Same thing like I said, but really just, I mean, spreading the ball down the field and getting it to different receivers. And yeah.
Sorry, Jett. Brandon's having a medical emergency.
Oh, it's all good.
We'll get that under control. But
it's all good.
Here's I think, and this is kind of a broad question too, but it's worth asking given the circumstances surrounding your commitment and signing with Oklahoma. You haven't visited campus. You told us earlier you just bought that sweatshirt at Shields the other day because you needed something OU. What do you know about Oklahoma in the brief amount of, in the brief conversations you've had with coaching staffs and what limited interactions you've had with Darius and other guys that are committed to the institution, as well as just growing up watching college football and obviously having Oklahoma on the national scene like that? What do you know about this program?
I mean, one of the big things is quarterbacks. I mean, we've had Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. I mean, those are just to name a few. And I mean, those are definitely big names in the NFL as well now. And I'm hoping to be one of those names. I gotta work my tail off, and I mean, nothing comes easy. But I know that Coach Venables was talking a little bit about I think it's called the Soul Mission. Yeah. And so he was kind of explaining a little bit about that, and I mean, I think it's great opportunities, and I mean, he really given his players a chance to give back and really start their life after football, because I mean, football always comes to an end, and I mean, that's something I was looking forward to. I know that football's at some point going to come to an end, and I mean, I'm grateful that he has that, so we can, I mean, build relationships and really get to know other people. And I mean, he really sets us up for life after football.
I know it's all happened so quickly for you, but or have they told you who you're going to roommate with?
No, they haven't told me yet. They're kind of, I think it was Jolie, Ollie. She said that she was gonna call me a little later in the week and kind of get things all squared away. And but I mean, I'm excited to see who I room with. I mean, I haven't really got to meet any of the guys yet, but I mean, I'm super excited to meet them.
Was it Courtland that we were talking to earlier? He doesn't have a roommate either. Maybe.
The chances are that. Boy, that's a very confident defensive back. Have you got to meet, or you said you don't really know him, But have you got to be thrown inside that group chat and got to really, I guess, kind of introduce yourself to the rest of the class?
Yeah. I mean, they all gave me a warm welcome. I had some players reach out to me and, I mean, congratulate me as well. And I mean, I congratulated them on signing. And but I think it's a really special class, and I think we got something to prove. And I'm super excited for the opportunity.
It's been many years since Oklahoma signed a scholarship football player from the state of Utah. Here in the 2025 class, they've got 2 of them. We're going to go from one to the other. Here, wait, hang on a second. Do we have a? Oh yeah, a couple super chat questions here before we let you go, and we welcome Darius Afalava. Jett, Jacob Matthews wants to know, you have some wheels on you or what? And Mongo wants to know, Jett, can you throw a football over them mountains in Utah?
I would like to say I got some wheels on me. I think I'm pretty good at running and when I need to, and I definitely like to tell myself that I can throw it over the mountains. We have huge mountains over here, and when I throw my deep balls, that's the whole plan, is to throw it over the mountain and land it right in the basket.
Is the mustache and kind of your Uncle Rico thing going on, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to look more like a man than. But
well, boys don't earn scholarships to play football at the University of Oklahoma. Men do.
I know. Yeah.
And Jett Niu has earned a scholarship to play football at the University of Oklahoma. He will be here next month with the early enrollees. And as I just mentioned, we're about to go from one Utah guy to the next. We've talked to Jett. Jett, we're going to let you go. We're going to welcome Darius Afalava to the show. Thanks so much for your time. It's great to get to know you, man. I'm sure these fans are very, very excited to hear your voice, see your face for the first time, and excited to track your career at Oklahoma as it unfolds.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Go Sooners.
Thanks, buddy.
That is 3-star quarterback Jett Niu from Lehigh. Do we not have? I guess we don't have Darius lined up quite yet. Do we need to shoot him a message or? Okay, perfect. So we're gonna have him on in just a second. Really good kid.
Yeah,
Jett
he
Niu.
was very personable. You could tell that he liked to have a little fun too. Like he has that vibe that you can kind of tell that he's on the field is very different than what he is during maybe an interview or just kind of hanging out. He seems like he's got, just from the film, a little fiery when he gets on the field. And I could see him kind of being a fan favorite down the line. Those type of kids that are, I don't know, quiet in interviews and stuff, but then when they put that helmet on, they're just a completely different human being. Tend to get a lot of love from the fan base.
Well, and I wouldn't necessarily call this a player comp, but I will say he's got a lot of Dylan Gabriel in his game.
That's
on
exactly
tape.
what I was thinking.
He's a right-handed Dylan Gabriel because, you know, he's not one of those big 6'5" gunslingers that's going to wind up and throw you a fastball.
Yep.
No, but he's very good with ball placement, very good with layering his throws. He can run when he needs to. He doesn't lean on it. He doesn't over-rely on it.
Yep.
But when he needs to, and it shows up on tape, he's got the requisite wheels, as he himself was talking about.
He has a great feel for the pocket. I think what I noticed most about him was when he would slide up in the pocket. He has a really good feel of going where the defender left. So if, say, an edge rusher is coming around, he'll slide into that spot because that's the open space to give himself a lane to throw. For people that don't know, that is not the easiest thing in the world to do because a lot of quarterbacks like to stand there and they'll just be statues. That's why they get sacked. But it's those that can feel the pocket, that can see and sense, okay, this is the open spot. I'm going to go there to make the throw. Those are the guys that are normally successful at the next level, particularly at the speed that he's going to have to play at. And he has that.
It seems to come naturally to him.
Yeah,
he feels very comfortable in everything he's doing in the pocket. And so, you know, I think when we talk about Jett Niu's future at Oklahoma, he certainly seems like a guy that, given the development that he's going to receive under Ben Arbuckle and the rest of this Oklahoma offensive staff, definitely somebody that 2-3 years down the line, he could be playing some pretty solid football for this program. But so we met Jett Niu. Now we welcome to the program the other native Utahn who signed with the Sooners in the class of 2025. He's been committed for more than a little bit longer than Jett. Say hello to four-star offensive lineman Darius Afalava. Darius, man, always great to catch up with you. We're glad to have you on the OU Insider Signing Day special tonight. How you doing, man? How does it feel to officially be a Sooner?
Chief, it's cool. I mean, been committed since the summer. Been here for a reason. All the family and everything. It's blessed. I'm grateful for the opportunity. So yeah.
Let's jump right into it because we just had Jett Niu on here and he discussed how you kind of kick-started it, and Venables said you were kind of the bridge that kind of helped them get in with a Jett. So talk about how that all came about from your side of the aisle there.
Man, I really think I was eating cereal like 2 days ago and like 3 days ago, and Coach V hit
What type
me
of
up.
cereal? Get descriptive here.
Yeah, okay. It was like morning. I think I was getting ready for school, and I'm over here just eating my cereal, doing my thing, about to go to school, and then I get a text from Coach V asking about Jett, and just asking about like his talent and everything, and I told him the truth. Jett was a great player and everything. For the past day, I think Jett and Coach V were talking, just going back and forth, and then the night before he got the offer from OU, he gave me a call, and I think we spent like 30 minutes on the phone just talking about, he's just asking me a bunch of questions about the program and why I committed, and I just told him the truth, really family oriented towards everything, and just the fans and just Coach V. I told him Coach V the realest out there, and he really made it feel like home for me, and all the coaches don't tell him no BS, and that's the main reason why I came. Just that, and how close they are towards everybody. So that happened, and then got the offer, and that's when I shook my head that he was going to come by, and then today he just made it happen. So yeah.
There you go. Again, it's been years since Oklahoma signed a scholarship commit out of the state of Utah. Now they get a twofer, and from the same city, mind you. Lehigh, Utah produces Oklahoma commits or signees.
Who's the last one before them?
Was it CJIU? You got to go back that far?
No, you don't have to go back that far.
Really?
No, they.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Y'all go ahead and I'll figure this out.
Wait, you didn't actually know?
No. It's a lineman. I do know that. I mean, I can't remember his name. That's what I'm drawing a blank.
Dang it.
I don't think I can see you guys.
What's that?
I don't think I can see you guys.
You can't see us?
Oh wait. Oh my gosh. I had to swipe it right. Oh. Bro, I'm over here looking at a B the whole time. Oh, okay. Some of you guys are. Oh, okay.
There we go. Hopefully we have that rectified. But Darius, for you, let's go back to your recruitment now. You didn't get the OU offer until the spring game, April 20th. Yeah. You show up for the visit, and I remember talking to you after the fact, and you were just kind of like, yeah, I just kind of wanted to check OU out, see what it was all about. Didn't really have any super high expectations. But then there you are 2 months later, committing to a school that, relative to the other schools that were pursuing you, got in the game pretty late. So what was it about Bill Bedenbaugh in particular that sold you on the fit at Oklahoma, and who was going to be developing you towards a career at the next level?
I mean, I just look at his accolades. I mean, Coach B, all the people he's put into the league. I mean, it's really an obvious choice. I mean, just looking at all the other 25 commits for the O-line, it's obvious why we all came. Coach B, all the things he's done, all the development he's done towards the O-lineman that he's coached. It's like an obvious pick just to choose Coach B. Not to mention, he's like I said for Coach V, he's real, and he's a tough coach to play for. And I feel like a lot of kids would get scared to play for him just because of how real he is. But I just feel like that's the greatest opportunity, is just to go out with someone who won't lie to you and will tell you what you need to work on, and still loves you. Because I know Coach B, the way he treats the players. I've asked multiple players. Shout out Logan and Daniel for just all the advice that they gave me towards Coach B, and I know they wouldn't lie to me either. So just hearing from them and hearing their words, it really was a big reason why I committed. Not to mention, I just want to build something new. I just want to build something new, just something new with this 25 class. So I just think it's cool.
So during that whole time, during the OC search, was there any sort of hesitancy from you? Like maybe, you didn't know maybe what was going to happen, if they were going to retain Coach Biedenbow, even though they were telling you that was a fact. Like, how much trust did that take from you on your part to sit pat with Oklahoma?
Yeah. Honestly, now that you bring that up, that was really a big thing me and my family were thinking about, because, you know, when you bring a new OC, like, usually he would, you know, make room for his own staff and stuff like that. But I just think about Coach B. He's been through multiple coaches, multiple head coaches, but he's still there because everybody knows that he's going to stay. So that was the main factor why I stayed, knowing that I knew that our new OC would keep him, just because of just how long he's been with the program. So, yeah.
As far as the relationships with the other offensive line signees in this 2025 class for Oklahoma, Michael Fasusi, Ryan Foje, Owen Hollenbeck, how close have you grown to those guys over the last few months as you've prepared to jump into the fire together at OU?
I say personally, I don't really know. Like, over messages and texts, like, we FaceTimed a few times and stuff. I haven't really met any of them. I met Owen at the South Carolina game, but I haven't been able to meet Ryan and Michael yet. But they seem like cool dudes on the phone. Yeah, Ryan's a little weird. Ryan's something, but Ryan's cool. Michael's cool. Owen's cool. They're all cool. So, yeah.
So just so we're clear, the last, thank you, Spencer, I knew it was like around the 2014 class, but I knew it was between 2010 and 2018, but I couldn't remember what it was. It was Kenyon Friesen, four-star offensive lineman out of Granger High School in Salt Lake City. Do you know Granger High School in Salt Lake City at all?
Dude, I'm new to the Utah area myself. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I know most, I guess, of the people that come out of just Utah in general, but I didn't know that. I have a friend who lives in the Granger area, so I'll probably have to ask him about it.
Okay, so give everybody your background. Like, you're new to Utah. What is your background originally, so everybody can kind of learn about where you come from and where you hail from?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Hawaii. I spent like my first 10 years there in the Hola area, the North Shore. Then my dad played in the league as well, so that's what really caused us to move. And he did not play O-line; he played safety. So that's really big change in position. But when he went to the league and everything, that's when we kind of moved. Played at Chicago, we moved there. We moved to Tennessee as well and played for the Titans. And then we kind of settled back in Oregon for because my dad graduated from Oregon State. So we were there for, I want to say, 2 to 3 years. After that happened, COVID year, we moved to Hawaii. We just moved to Hawaii for family, just because everything was so condensed. I just wanted to be by family most of the time. That happened, and then I never played football. Wow. And then my freshman year came along, and my dad just gave me a talk, and he told me straight up that I wasn't gonna make it in basketball because I mean
dreams, huh?
I think I.
Do we really listen?
Oh no!
Basketball wasn't the way to go, and I needed to start learning how to block. So after that happened, I feel like it was the easy transition, just because all the years playing basketball, I felt like the footwork and everything was a little similar. So freshman year was rough. That was rough. Freshman year, just learning how to get in the stance was weird. Sophomore year, I picked it up, and then my junior and senior year really made it known to everyone that I want to play ball. So that's kind of like my little life story.
Offensive linemen that played basketball and/or soccer,
good feet.
Brandon, those tend to be the best ones because they got good feet, no doubt about it. Now,
Yeah.
Darius, it's been awesome. Before we let you go, I want to ask this, and it's a question that we've asked several of the signees throughout the night. When you look at what has happened on the field for Oklahoma in 2024, the season hasn't really lived up to expectations for anybody around here, certainly not expectations nationally, but what gives you confidence just knowing who is in that building, on the roster, on the staff, surrounding the program and the support staff areas? when you consider everybody that makes up the football equation at Oklahoma, what gives you confidence that what happened in 2024 is just going to be a bump in the road on the way to greater things for this program?
Oh, Coach V, no doubt. It's the obvious answer. I feel like I don't know what they've said, all the other signees with me, but for me, it's Coach V. I think this year was definitely a bump on the road, but just looking into it, first year in the SEC, getting to know a lot of injuries. So I take no. I was never really thinking about doing anything else. I knew throughout the whole season, no matter the ups and downs, that we're gonna come back next year and for the years coming. So that's really my only thing. Coach V, just knowing that the energy he brings to the room will really help, I feel like, the whole team, and especially that win against Alabama. That really was like, I feel like something that shows the future coming up. So yeah.
So I was going to ask this question anyways, but I appreciate the super chat from Kason Halsley and Solo. There's been a strong debate since you said you were eating cereal when all that stuff went down. This whole conversation of this cereal's nasty. No, this is the best cereal.
Yeah.
Started in the chat. So, Darius, what is your favorite cereal?
Man, I don't want to answer this wrong for you guys. I'll say
there's no wrong answer. It's your favorite.
Apple Jacks, that's a good one.
Apple Jacks is a good one.
That's a good one. Apple Jacks, yeah, that's
what
my
about
childhood
Cinnamon
right
Toast
there.
Crunch? You like Cinnamon Toast
No,
Crunch?
too sweet. Can't do it.
That's too sweet. Yeah, he's right. It's too sweet, bro.
Yeah,
You're outnumbered on this one.
You're weird.
You got to take the L.
Weird.
Dude,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Dude, I never liked Cinnamon Toast Crunch, bro. I mean, I've had a lot of cereal.
Lucky Charms?
It's too much.
Captain Crunch is good. Yeah.
Oh,
You know what's a
Captain
sleeper? Sneaky good? Cinnamon Life. You ever had Cinnamon Life?
No, I haven't had Cinnamon Life. That's
Yeah.
like the multi-brand. Like you're like that.
You're
You're like down there on the bottom aisle trying to get the big bag that the multi-meal has.
No, it's
Gross.
Life cereal. I mean, we're talking common cereal here, but you just get the cinnamon flavor. It's
guess.
like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, only way better because it's not just a spoonful of sugar every
Cocoa
time.
Puffs is good. People said pull your scholarship because you don't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, I don't think Darius Afalava is in danger of that. Oklahoma, very, very excited to add him as one of 3 blue chip commits on the offensive line, one of 4 signees total on the offensive line in the 2025 class. Darius, thanks for your time, man. Always great to talk with you, and best of luck at the University of Oklahoma as you prepare for the next chapter.
Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, that is Darius Afalava. We have one more interview to go, and then we will tie a bow on this thing. And for my money, Brandon, when we consider all of the guys that comprise this class, all 18 signees that have a spot at Oklahoma here in the 2025 cycle, it is my personal opinion that this dude is the best interview of them all.
Yeah.
4-star safety Marcus Wimberly out of Bauxite, Arkansas. I got the chance to sit down with him last night and have a real expansive conversation, cover a lot of ground about his own future at Oklahoma, the future of the program, what sold a small-town Arkansas kid on OU in the first place. Really, really enlightening conversation, as it always is with Marcus Wimberly. Hope y'all enjoy this one. And here is Marcus Wimberly, 4-star defensive back from Bauxite, Arkansas. One of 2 Arkansas natives in this 2025 class for the Sooners. They hadn't signed a player out of the natural state since the class of 2019 with Stacey Wilkins. But here in 2025, they get a package deal. 2 of the best safeties in the nation, both from Arkansas, in Marcus and, of course, Omarion Robinson, who joined us a bit earlier on the show. But Marcus, man, always great to catch up with you. Always great to talk with you. And glad that we can officially call you a member of the Sooner football family now that you're signed. Man, what's got you most excited about the days and weeks ahead as you get ready to be a part of the OU football family for real?
Man, the biggest thing for me is in high school, I don't have a lot of people that want to be great around me. So it's hard to push myself and it just be myself pushing me. And so I think when I get to OU, the thing I'm going to be most excited about is being around people that love the game. They love Oklahoma. They love to get better, and they all want to be great and end up in the league. And I think that's going to help me improve in my game. But I also look forward to the opportunity to push those other guys to be great as well.
So it's signing day. There are a lot of OU football fans who follow recruiting year round that are well acquainted with you. There are also a lot of folks that are just hearing your voice and seeing your face for the first time, and they know very little about you as a football player. So for those that don't know, take us back to the genesis of your recruitment, at least as far as OU is concerned, because for a time you were committed to Arkansas as a high school junior, but it wasn't until about January, if I recall correctly, that the Sooners got in the picture.
Right. So last December, I decommitted from the Razorbacks, and it was a tough decision, but just because you grow up as an Arkansas kid and that's all you ever know is the Arkansas Razorbacks. But, I prayed about it, and I really felt like that's what God was telling me to do, because that's all I want to do is fulfill his plan for my life at the end of the day. But no, Coach Hall, he came in around the 20th of December or something. He came in for his first visit, and he just laid out like what he thought about me. He wanted to see how I was as a human being. And he didn't offer me that first visit, but he came back like 3 more times the same week. I was like, wow, this dude is like, he's really recruiting me. And about the third time he came, he offered me. And, I like to hide it, but at the same time, I'm honest, man. But that was one of the only 2 offers I got that I cried about. And I got so emotional when I received it, because like my dad's a huge Venables guy. We know the history behind Oklahoma. We know what Coach Venables is doing with the Soul Mission, how big of an impact it has on the lives of the young men there. And in April, I decided I would make it official and announce my commitment to OU. And it's just been the greatest thing, And I wouldn't take back my decision if I could. And I'm super excited to finally be signed.
Now, Bauxite, Arkansas, it's a small town. You're a small town kid. Not too far outside of Little Rock, but Bauxite itself is a pretty intimate community. What does the football tradition there mean to you and your family? Because your dad was a very, very well-known and very talented football player at Bauxite back in his day, and obviously you've built a similar legacy for yourself. But what does the community of Bauxite and Bauxite minor football mean to you?
It means a lot. When you wear that minor across your chest, man, it means that you're willing to go in and lay your life down for the dude beside you every Friday night. And a lot of people think that, maybe a kid's committed to a SEC school, so he doesn't have to try as hard on a Friday night, and he doesn't really have to care about how he performs or whatnot. I disagree with that. I may be rated a 4-star, but I play like a 0-star. I play like an underdog simply because I have some pride in not only my hometown, but my last name. And so I like to play my hardest to make the fans happy, but at the end of the day, I'm just doing it all to glorify my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Now, you've mentioned your faith several times already, and I think anybody that has heard you talk before on any platform knows how fundamental that is to everything you are and everything you do. How did it strike you when you got to Oklahoma and there are so many folks in the building that share your faith, share your values, and aren't afraid to talk about it with you?
That was honestly one of the confirming factors to like my prayer on whether or not I was thinking the right place, because one of my prayers was that God would lead me to a place that I'm going to be surrounded by people of like faith, because you are who you hang around. And it says it in the Bible, bad company corrupts good character. And I thought it was such a blessing to get around those guys, because I know that for the next 4 or 5 years, maybe even 3, that I'm going to get pushed not only to be great in football, but great in my walk with Jesus Christ and great in the game of life. And so it's such a blessing, because there's a way bigger picture than just football here on this earth, and way bigger picture than anything we could ever do on this earth. And it's just a blessing to have all those people around me pushing me along to be great in every aspect of my life.
So you committed pretty early, as you mentioned. It was April that you locked in with Oklahoma. That was before official visit season. I believe, as I recall, you were commit number 9 or 10 at the time for Oklahoma in the 2025 class. But obviously, at the very outset here, I mentioned Omarion Robinson from Little Rock, Arkansas, Parkview Magnet High School, the other 4-star commit for Brandon Hall in this class at the safety position. It took a lot longer for him to jump on board with OU. And behind the scenes, you were pretty instrumental in that effort from the OU side of things. So take us into that whole process once you're committed, doing your absolute best to make sure Omarion's coming with you to Norman.
You know, there's a saying that goes, great players want to be surrounded by great players. And I know that Man is a fantastic player, and he's also a great young man. And he's also from the state of Arkansas, like me. And so I thought it would be the coolest thing, not only to one, be able to play side by side by a great player and a great young man, but to be able to play side by side with another player from Arkansas. And so when Coach Hall told me that Man was being recruited, I hopped on it, because like not very many times do you get to play with a dude that lives 30 minutes up the road from you in another state, and nonetheless the same position. And so me and Man, we kept in touch. We texted, we called. I constantly checked up on his family. He constantly checked up on mine. And the biggest thing I sold to him, and really to his mom, Miss Latoya, I really sold the character aspect that OU is going to build on him. And I think that it's going to be good for him, and it's also going to be good for me. I think it's going to be great for us to be there together.
Now, you're not shy about it, right? You're 10 toes down for this program. That's all you've been since the day you committed. But what's it been like as really a cornerstone member of this recruiting class, just to navigate the ebb and flow, guys committing, guys decommitting throughout the cycle? Oklahoma doesn't necessarily have the season in 2024 that anybody wanted or expected. And so as you're navigating all that turmoil, what's been your perspective on all of that over the last several months?
Well, my perspective is, obviously God's got a plan for everybody. So if God's plan for somebody is not to play at the University of Oklahoma, I totally understand. But at the same time, like, either you're with us or you're against us. And we're building something special. So if you don't want to be a part of it, then don't be a part of it. Because here in a couple years, we're going to be celebrating with a national championship trophy. And there's just going to be somebody missed out on. But if you want to be a part of it, I want you to be a part of it. And if you love the University of Oklahoma and what they're about, and the relenting physical defense, then come on with it. And if you love to win football games, come on with it, because we're building something special. And that's my view on it. And man, we got to stay positive, because too many haters, too many negative thoughts coming from the outside. But man, if you love this place, you're all for it, and ain't no need to be negative about it.
So to that point, let me play devil's advocate here, because it's a very popular talking point nationally. Oklahoma went 6-6. They kind of fell on their face year one in the SEC. Is Brent Venables really the guy? Is this coaching staff in over their heads? All these questions swirl. And as you mentioned, a lot of negativity, especially from national media outlets surrounding Oklahoma and the future of this program. As somebody that's spent a ton of time around these coaches, this locker room, obviously has strong relationships with these guys in the 2025 recruiting class, what gives you confidence that what happened in 2024 is just a blip and not a trend, not indicative of where this program is headed under the leadership of Brent Venables?
Because I can promise you from firsthand experience that not one person in that single building is the problem. The problem lies in the injuries. And, you know, my team, my high school team this year, we had, I think, 17 starters out. And with 17 starters out, you can't do a whole lot. And a lot of people want to put the blame on Coach Venables or Coach Luttrell or Jackson Arnold. Not one single person's a problem. Not even the group is the problem. It's just the injuries. And a lot of people don't see that. They just want to see the wins and losses. And they don't want to look in the deep aspects of things. But when you actually look at it and you look at the injuries and the guys that we're missing, the key players like Nick Anderson, Jalil Farouk, we lost Kendall Dolby, like what, first conference game of the season?
That's right.
And so, man, we're missing a lot of key pieces, and there's more than that. But it's not a single person, and it's not the team or the coaching staff at all. It's just the injuries. And when people can look past the wins and losses is when they'll come to understanding that it's only the injuries. And once everybody gets back healthy, everybody better watch out for Oklahoma.
Now, the shared mission of this 2025 class, as you and others have said, is to show up and make the program better, whatever that looks like as true freshmen. Show up, make the program better. I'm going to give you the chance to brag on your buddies here. Who are some of the guys in this class that you were just enamored with as football players? And you think, okay, when Oklahoma fans get eyes on this guy, they're going to see how special he is.
Elijah Thomas. Dude is a freak. Like, everybody wants to talk about the Decorian Moores, and Decorian Moore is a fantastic football player. He's an absolute baller. But nobody's talking about Elijah Thomas. I mean, everybody in Oklahoma is talking about Elijah Thomas because they know what he's about. But nobody else is. And once he gets there, he's going to be an absolute freak. Ryan Foji, he's a dog. He's going to make huge plays. Marcus James, everybody's sleeping on Marcus James. When my dad first saw him, he said, that's an NFL linebacker. And, I thought the same thing because he's got the build for it. He's got the athleticism for it. Tristan Haynes, he's going to come in. I really can't single out every guy because this class is so special. It has so much talent, man. I'm telling you, the whole class, every individual player in it, and as a whole, is going to completely shock the world.
Man, what is it, as we get ready to wrap up here, what is it about the University of Oklahoma that has endeared itself to you? Obviously, the relationships are important. The camaraderie is important. Having coaches you can trust is important. But just being around the university, being around the Sooner football family, being a part of something like the Field Rush after OU beat Alabama. Man, how have you just grown to appreciate everything that OU is as a community in the 8 months since you've been committed?
When you get recruited by a school, there's a lot to learn about it before you can just really, really say you're fully in love with it. But it didn't take me very long. There was somebody on Twitter, it was an Oklahoma fan, and I think his name was like Kyle Davis, I think his name was. And he sent me like this whole series on YouTube of the OU DNA series. And I watched it, and it was so cool. And ever since being around it and being committed, you're able to see everything. You're able to see the tradition and the rich culture that is in Oklahoma football. Like, they know how to win, man, and they don't take a back seat to anybody in anything. And Coach Smitty, he's going to get dudes right. And I love to work hard, and I'm so pumped. And at the same time, I'm a little nervous for his workouts. But I'm so excited for his workouts because I know he's going to push me to be great. I'm going to eat every bit of it up. And the fans are fantastic. They're so enthusiastic about this team. They love the university. And, man, I'm ride or die, Boomer Sooner.
Well, I want to ask you this, and I think you're probably the best guy in this class that's equipped to answer it. What do you think is a message that this fan base needs to come back to? No matter if it's good times for the program, bad times for the program, they're winning, they're losing, through the peaks and valleys. What do you think is the message that this fan base needs to stay mindful of with regard to this university, this staff, this roster, everything that is Oklahoma football? What do you feel like they need to keep coming back to that's going to properly orient their thinking around OU?
There's only one. And we're not Oklahoma State. We're not Tulsa University, and nothing against those universities at all. But we are the University of Oklahoma for a reason. And if you can't see that, then you got something wrong with your eyes or your mind, because we got that name for a reason, and we carry it with pride. And we're going to continue to do that throughout the whole history of the university. And that's all I got to say, man, is there's only one.
Hey, you want to give David's Burgers some quick publicity?
Oh, yes, absolutely. David's Burgers in Arkansas. They're only in Arkansas, but they are absolutely fantastic. Best burgers, unlimited fries, and best fries you can get around. Perfect. I love David's Burgers.
So there you go, folks. You're ever in Arkansas, especially the Little Rock area, David's Burgers is the place to stop. I can confirm this. Been there multiple times since Marcus made the rec. It lives up to the billing. Marcus, as always, man, greatly appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being willing to be a part of the signing day show this evening.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Parker.
Brandon, that regardless of how far football takes him, and with his athletic gifts, it has the potential to take him very far. But regardless of how far football takes him, that's a dude that's going to be successful in whatever walk of life he chooses.
He is faith-driven. He's goal-oriented. He's an amazing human being. You can hear it in the interview. He's smart, intellectual. Just he thinks everything through before he says it. Everything is well thought out, and not only that, he's a hard worker and an amazing football player. Will knock your head off. So fits the culture at Oklahoma. And not only that, everybody that you talk to around the Switzer Center, they all say that guy is going to play early and he's going to play a lot. And I tend to agree. I think he's severely underrated. Not very many people are built like him, run as fast as him, as explosive of him as he is, and can hit the way he does at that age. And I feel like he's going to seamlessly come in and play quite a bit. Oh man, does he fit Brandon Hall? He fits Brandon Hall so well.
Hey, we are 3 hours and 7 minutes deep on the third annual OU Insider Signing Day Special. The often imitated, never duplicated OU Insider Signing Day Special. There are those who have tried to duplicate it in the past. They didn't try this year, which credit to them for a lesson learned. In the words of Beyonce, we run this mother. But with that said, we're done here. For Brandon Drumm, I am Parker Thune. This has been the OU Insider Signing Day Special. For those of you that have hung with us for all 3 hours, thank you so much. If you're not subscribed to OUinsider.com, we would love to see you over there. We'll make it worth your while. Shout out to Jana King. Shout out to Mando for their sponsorship of tonight's stream. Shout out to the folks at Sooner Daiquiri for the free food this evening, for the space, for the environment, and for hosting us now 2 years in a row. They had their soft opening last year. The night we were here was the very first night that they were open to the general public. Now here we are a year later. This place is flourishing, run by amazing people, phenomenal food, phenomenal beverages out here. If you live in Norman, it is a main street spot that you're going to want to get familiar
The
with.
wings kick. They're awesome.
Huge shout out to our producer, Spencer Forsyth, for putting all of it together behind the scenes. We are so blessed to get to do what we do, and I mean, this is our Super Bowl every year. This day is the busiest day of the year for us, but the most fun and the most rewarding. So thanks for sharing it with us. We'll do it all again next year, and in the meantime, we'll be working nonstop to bring you the best Oklahoma team and recruiting intel at OU Insider.
Transfer portal's up next, guys. It's up next. OU Insider, subscribe right here. It's fun.
Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.